Hello, everybody.
That was so natural.
That's how we do it here on a Monday afternoon. What the fuck has happened? Thank you guys for being here. I'm very excited.
Pleasure.
Thanks
I was
for
looking
having
forward
us.
to this one
Me
for
too.
like, oh man, this is an intense one. I'm very excited. Giant fans of both of you, and I'm glad we could do this.
Same.
Likewise.
What's
oh my God. So much.
So you guys want to start with a song?
Yeah.
Let's start with a song.
We'll start with a song.
Bad Beast.
Bad Beast.
I
Yeah.
love this song.
All right. Okay. This is the first time we've like done this together, so
Holy shit.
yeah. Look out, folks. I'm so scared.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
All right, you ready? All right. Give you an inch, yeah, you go for miles, dragging me behind you like I'm your child, kicking and screaming, stuck on your leash. The cow with the cream just licking his teeth. Goddamn, there's a bad beast living in me, chaining me up and set me free, so we can do it over and over again and keep me down low. Damned if I give in and damned if I don't. Well, the hell with it then, yeah. Yeah, the hell with it then. Yeah, I tried to rise above, I tried playing dead, even tried calling up that ghost in my bed. He just laughed, couldn't catch his breath, said he wasn't no match for that angel of death. Goddamn, there's a bad beast living in me, chaining me up and set me free, so we can do it over and over again and keep me down low. Damned if I give in and damned if I don't. Well, the hell with it then. Yeah, the hell with it then. Yeah. Here we go. This'll bury me one day on Sunday. Mama, won't you pray for me? This'll bury me one day on Sunday. Mama, won't you pray for me? This'll bury me one day on Sunday. Mama, won't you pray for me? I don't think that I'm weak, I don't think I'm unfit, I don't think I've even seen the thick of this shit. So I'll roll with the dirt, these bulldozing me, it'll hurt like a hearse, carrying my grief. Goddamn, there's a bad beast living in me, chaining me up and set me free, so we do it over and over again and keep me down low. Damned if I give in and damned if I don't. Well, the hell with it then. was so dope. That was so cool.
That was fucking
Oh
awesome.
man, Gary.
That's fun.
It
We
was
should do that again sometime.
Yeah.
Oh, how many times you guys performed together?
Not many. Maybe once at the Jameson thing.
That was the
This
first
is the second time. Yeah.
That was it.
That is,
I just run into Gary at
that's
parties
so
and
crazy.
festivals.
That's so crazy. You guys never fucked around together? Nothing before that one moment?
No, I mean we played
Oh,
a
my
show. The first
God.
time we met
Yeah.
was like over 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and we were just babies. You know,
That show was so dope.
it was really
That
fun.
show that you guys did, that Jameson thing, was so dope.
Well, you remember that? Well, you were there, and then Jameson was like, "Why is this video like going like viral? Because you tweeted or you like posted
put it on
it
my
on your
Instagram.
Instagram,
Yeah.
and then they were all asking us about PR and stuff. And it was hilarious.
Midnight Rider is one of my all-time favorite songs.
Yeah,
So when you guys went into that, like randomly, I'm like, oh my God. When I used to get up in the morning, whenever I used to have to do morning radio is like, you got to be funny at like 6:30
That's
a.m.
nuts,
You know,
yeah.
and you got to like shake the cobwebs
Right.
off. You might have just went to bed like 4 hours ago,
Yeah.
right? You move around a little. So I would hit a joint and listen to Midnight Rider.
You would?
Always.
That's
that was my
incredible.
morning song.
Damn.
Midnight Rider was my morning. Because when you're high first thing in the morning on your
Yeah.
way to the radio, there's a feeling you get when you listen to that song. Like these guys were just out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's a cruiser.
Yeah. Oh my
know?
God. But they were free.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The music then was so free.
Yeah.
There was something special about like that era of music and
Mm-hmm.
that song. And then to see you guys doing it together and to give it that Gary Clark Jr. sound.
Yeah. It's
Dude,
a thing. You've got a
you-
sound.
You got a sound, man. It's amazing with all the fucking people playing guitar. I hear your sound. Like you have a sound that's special. It's very
Agreed.
different.
Agreed 100%.
I don't know what the fuck you're doing, man. 'Cause
I
I
don't
know
either.
shit about
I keep trying to
guitars.
steal his tricks. I don't know.
You know what? I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's ignorance and a lot of fuzz and some reverb.
Keep it up.
And
whatever
good
the
vibes.
fuck it is.
Let's be honest.
But I'm having fun getting to do it. You know what I mean?
Dude, you guys together with Ben. It was Ben and
Oh, yeah.
you, and there was someone else, right?
Our drummer Connor, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you
Yeah.
guys together. God damn, that was
Yeah,
fun.
it's fun.
It
Y'all
was
were
a good
kicking
time.
too.
Thanks.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
We had, I don't know when Honey Honey's going to play again, but we had a lot of fun,
You guys made some awesome songs.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Ben. Where
Shout
are
out to
you,
Ben.
Word.
E-hug to you, fella.
He feels that. Yeah.
I give it. It's real. It's a real one. It's a nice one. Love that dude.
Oh man.
So that's crazy that you guys had never done that before that one night.
Well, you brought us on. You bestowed a great gift on Honey Honey because you played at the Ace that day.
Yeah.
Or that night, and then we were, brought in by Gary to do this after party sponsored by Jameson, hence all the like Jameson barrels and all the stuff, and it was so much fun. I mean,
And it was in downtown LA, which like adds to it because
Yeah.
downtown LA is straight up Blade Runner these days.
Funky, right? Yeah.
You're like,
It
what
really
is
is.
going on
Yeah.
here? There's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
tents and homeless people
Yeah.
by the thousands and gangs and weird graffiti and dudes are lifting and closing
spooky.
garage doors in the middle of the night. And they're filled with people
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah, I went down there the other day, man. And I took my wife to some nice restaurant. And the driver was like, "Bro, don't go anywhere else around.
oh
here.
my god,
Just stay right here and then call it."
That's
Wow.
so crazy. That's
Yeah,
true.
it was
We
wild.
filmed Fear Factor there. We watched people smoke crack.
Yeah,
We were watching
Jesus.
them, or meth, whatever they were
Yeah.
smoking. They were smoking something. And
my
they
God.
were just doing it openly in the street. Like we were elevated in one of them little one of those train buckets. And we were looking down.
Oh
and
my
the
God.
contestants were watching
That's
people
ironic.
smoke crack. We're like, this is crazy. Right there out in the street.
yeah,
Those little vials, broken vials would be everywhere.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's like Mad Max.
But it is, and it's also beautiful buildings.
Mm-hmm.
They've also built these insane apartment buildings there. It's gorgeous office buildings. It's very
Yeah.
strange. It's like there's a concerted effort to try to turn it into some, like to gentrify
Mm-hmm.
downtown. But
I mean, it's happening, but when you're in California, do you really want to live in downtown LA?
Eddie Bravo loves
Does he
downtown
love
LA.
it?
He doesn't live there, but he has his jiu-jitsu
Yeah, but you
headquarters
hang there, but you don't
He's there all
live
the
there.
Oh, is that the move?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fun hang, but I want to be in the canyons. The rolling hills
Right.
of Los Angeles.
Of course you do, right?
Perhaps a beachfront property.
A little bit of you.
Me and Brad Pitt,
How
remember?
about a little bit of you? That's right. You and Brad
right.
in your dream. That's right.
I had a dream that I was late for the Joe Rogan podcast, and I also had a dream that Brad Pitt and I were dating. And I was, in fact, late, as we've talked about, so I can't see any
Shout
reason
out
why
to
the other one, the other part of my dream isn't going to come true.
If you're a fan of nice ladies and good music, I got one for you.
Boom.
Did you see that Quentin Tarantino movie?
I did. It was incredible.
How weird was the violence?
Oh, God, it was tough.
It was.
I watched
it's
it with my
weird.
parents, and what was ironic is they knew who all the characters were. Like my dad said, "Oh, I bet that's Tex. I'll bet," because those were real people,
Yeah.
still are some of them, and you know that was kind of chilling to me to think about the fact that they knew by name who these Charlie Manson heads were by watching this movie, because it's way before my time. So
Well, it's super, super popular story. And the other part about it is like those people that killed those folks, you know how the story turned out.
Right.
So you're expecting
yeah,
it.
I
And then
loved a happier ending.
It's way better.
Yeah, it was nice. It's like Inglourious Bastards too. You're
Yes.
just
Yeah,
other
yeah,
Brad
yeah.
Pitt movie. Am I just plugging this one or what?
Tarantino's he's a wizard. He
Yeah,
really, I
he's
mean,
amazing.
He's the last guy allowed to make a movie like that.
Yeah.
Like when I said the violence was shocking, I don't mean necessarily that it's bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying shocking that in a movie in 2020 you could have a dude smash some girl's head.
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
I mean, like woo, like
Yeah.
this is wild. But
It's pretty
he's
insane.
grandfathered in. I think Tarantino's grandfathered in. Right, because everybody
Yeah.
has always known him for having the wildest, craziest fucking from Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
straight on his whole career. Like
It's kind of to
there's,
be
like,
expected.
yeah.
Yeah.
The fucking Uma Thurman with the injection in the heart. It's like, when she's, I mean, so many of his movies are
Classic
like, what
Halloween
the fuck?
costume.
Like, that guy goes deep. He goes deep. Nobody goes deeper than Tarantino. But the thing is that he can still do a super ultra violent movie and people consider it great art. And I think that's getting harder and harder to do. Right? I think he's sort of like everybody knows that's the Tarantino movie. You're going to see some madness, right? But I think if a new person tried to do it, they would hit more woke reaction. More people like, are we really celebrating a scene where a guy smashes a woman's head into pulp?
He does a good job of getting the good guy to win.
Oh yeah.
So, and we all want that
Oh,
so
100%.
badly. So, if anything, like he's got a formula that continues to work. Yeah, I want to see the bad guys get the shit kicked out of them. There's justice.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's fun entertainment, but there's a sort of a resistance to like certain narratives and certain kind of scenes, certain kinds of depictions of violence that you shouldn't even have it for entertainment's sake. But god damn, it's so nice having someone like him around.
Yeah.
That just
You should
makes
bring him on the
chaos.
podcast.
I would love to. I met him at the Comedy Store. He's super nice.
Cool.
But he makes madness, you leave a Tarantino movie, you're like, what the fuck?
Pretty soon, Joe, you're going to be in the next Tarantino movie.
No, I'm not into movies.
Keep talking
man.
like this.
I'm not trying to be in any movies. I just like to watch. It's like I'm just appreciative.
That's great. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
That's one of the reasons why I'm appreciative of music too. Like I have no idea what's going on.
Neither do we.
But clearly you do. The sounds are consistent. You say you don't know what's going on.
I think you get a better knowledge of music than I do.
Wow,
don't
Gary.
bullshit.
Gary, I don't really know how to take that.
Gary, how many instruments do you play? Just the guitar, or do you play others?
I just play this well enough to keep the lights on.
Oh my God. He's humble, folks. So humble.
Yeah. But I like to mess around on drum. But you're a
Yeah.
multi-instrumentalist and a
Master of none, though. Master of none.
Well,
It's been fun though. I started practicing every day, and I really love it. I used to practice because I was afraid of sucking, and now I practice because I really just want to play.
yeah.
And I think there's a threshold that I crossed like a little while back, but I want to get so much better. I'm sure you could relate to that. Like it's hard to be satisfied.
Do you find a struggle between being a person who concentrates on one aspect of music or one who concentrates on a bunch of different kinds
It's hard.
of instruments?
Yeah. It's like I haven't picked up my banjo in a year.
Oh, wow.
And then, but also I think when your muscles are strong and you play one of them, all the string instruments are kind of like cousins, you know, but the violin is the hardest one. When I step away from it, and then I come back, there, you know.
That makes sense because that's such a crazy motion.
Yeah.
Am I doing
It's
it
an
wrong?
emotional instrument too. Like, yeah, you totally got, you can, you're crushing it.
Dude, I'm
You're so
killing
good at the violin.
That's because I've been making fun of people crying for so long.
I know.
You're going to be okay. I developed skills. My mock violin game is strong.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be all right.
The face.
Oh man, it's true. It's such a weepy instrument.
It's a beautiful
No one's ever
instrument.
like, oh, sadness.
It's just so nice that those wizards of the past figured all these fucking things out.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man, could you imagine being there when the first person sat down at the piano and was like,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Imagine a life where
Crazy.
people only could make noises
But
with
they
their
were
mouth.
crazy people, like Mozart and
yeah.
you know Beethoven. They went nuts.
Well, wouldn't you go nuts if you were smart and you lived back then?
I'm gonna.
You'd be out of your
I
fucking
only hope
mind.
that'll be my future.
Like, how about what do you dummies figure out a toilet?
"Oh, for real"?
We won't all
God.
die of dysentery. You know? That life
Instead of working
back
on your
then was-
concerto.
But everybody was thought to be crazy that had any idea outside the system. You know, they put Galileo under house arrest because he was figuring shit out about the universe.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like he ended his life on house arrest. He couldn't go anywhere. It's like one of the most, just because it was heresy. You piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
he was challenging
Yeah.
the orthodoxy.
It's funny how that stuff manifests
Yeah.
today. You know, the same thing.
It's a part of people. We like to control how people think and behave. And if we could do it under the guise of religion or under the guise of the correct politics or under the guise of
Social
anything,
media. Yeah.
anything we can do. It's just a pattern of human behavior. You see it with, you know, right-wing people who want to get people fired. You see it with social justice warriors who want to get people fired. It's a pattern of human behavior. There's people that are the most aggressive soldiers for a cause.
Right.
And they're at the front line of anything, good or bad. And sometimes, you know, people get fired. Some people get in trouble. Chaos ensues.
Well, I just feel like these days I really struggle with like you never really know the truth.
It's hard.
And it's so frustrating because I want to be on the front lines of information and know what's going on in my country and the world,
Yeah.
but I get so fucking frustrated.
Yeah.
And I'm really struggling with it, to be honest with you.
You should.
It makes me insane.
You know, and it's hard to put things into perspective, too.
Yeah.
Like this coronavirus thing
know.
is a good example of that. It's got everybody on edge. And we all should be on edge for diseases, don't get me wrong. Why are we not on edge that 500,000 people die every year from cigarettes?
Yeah.
They die prematurely from cigarette related. That is an insane pile of bodies.
Right.
That happens every year. We're barely worried about that. Like, yeah, you should probably quit smoking, but whatever, live your life, sister. You're
Yeah,
out
but
there
I mean,
fucking-
there's a difference between catching the
Just fucked me
coronavirus.
up because I've been not leaving the
Gary,
house
you
for like
smoke.
a week.
Oh.
I haven't left the house for a week. I've been sitting outside smoking cigarettes trying to avoid
Listen,
the coronavirus.
I get it. That might be the way to do it. Maybe you burn
So
it.
fucked.
Maybe there's like some good antioxidants in whatever brand.
Oh, there's a solid point there.
It's a good point.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man,
They're good for your brain. I've had a couple of cigarettes. I've had them with my friend Tony Hinchcliffe right before I went
yeah.
on stage, and I was like, whoa. And then I had when I worked with Chappelle, I smoked a cigarette with him before every show.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, I get it. I see what's going on. It's not
Yeah.
like I just thought it was stupid,
Yeah.
but it's like a little drug. Like
Yeah.
it's a little woo. It's
No,
a
like
little.
having a good cigarette from time to time.
Yeah. They say it's a nootropic. That nicotine actually enhances brain function.
Really?
Yeah. That it has a similar effect to other nootropics, like you know,
Really?
like Alpha Brain and any of those.
But like one cigarette?
Yeah,
Kind of like an occasional cigarette? Is that what we're talking
that
about?
nicotine in and of itself is a stimulant that I'm saying cigarettes. What I really mean is nicotine, but that nicotine in any form, whatever you can get it. If you chew, if you smoke a cigar, if you get
Which
enough,
I totally chew.
it does something to your brain. It actually enhances the way your brain functions.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of your memory, maybe a little bit of your verbal, your dictionary,
Right.
being able to pull words quicker.
Well, here's a crazy story.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Doesn't work for me.
Well, maybe it's because
Well,
you've been
what
doing
else
it a
are you
long
doing?
time. I think you've
Don't
probably
answer that.
you probably flatlined.
Yeah.
My
You've gotten any
grandmother,
benefit out of it.
my grandmother had a brain aneurysm when she was like in her 40s.
Whoa.
And my family's in the restaurant business in Cleveland, and they just opened a new store, and the story goes like this. They weren't up to code or something, and they needed to like clean the shit out of this place so they could get their, license or whatever. So she was really stressed out, and she felt a pop and she said it sounded like running water in her ears.
Oh, Jesus.
And she called my Uncle George, and she smoked a cigarette outside and waited for him. And they went to the hospital. Sure as shit, she had a brain aneurysm. And the doctor said that the cigarette probably saved her life because your blood vessels, they constrict, right? Is that the
When you smoke?
Who's the doctor here?
Oh, I am.
Okay,
what do you need, ma'am?
Dr. Rogan. I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, but
don't worry, I'm a doctor.
But anyway, she survived the brain aneurysm. It was like, but the story is that the cigarette had a lot to do with her making it to the hospital alive.
You sure that she didn't make that up?
Well, she also did a couple rails of cocaine. And sorry, Dad, I know he's going to listen to this.
Nicotine causes your blood vessels to constrict
you,
or
Jamie.
narrow, which limits the amount of blood that flows in your organs. Wow.
There you
go.
go.
Folks, if you have an aneurysm, start smoking.
You never get to the
Just quick.
Get to the closest
pack of Marlboros.
pack of cigarettes.
No. You want to go Camels, no filter, right?
Yeah, right. That would be the whole nother debate.
Those are the
I'm so
serious.
sorry.
When I used to hang out in the pool hall, the dudes who would smoke those filterless cigarettes were the most savage humans.
Yeah.
I knew a guy would break the filters off.
Then you just get a
White
bunch of
Plains
tobacco
Charlie.
in your mouth.
He didn't give a fuck. He was there to gamble. He didn't care.
How were his teeth?
They weren't that good.
I would imagine
They
so.
weren't that good.
Yeah. Woof.
Yeah. It was a guy that I met when I was in a pool hall in White Plains, New York. It's one of the first times I really understood what gambling addiction is. I used to pass it off as being no big deal, but being around like real gambling addicts, I was like,
yeah.
and ones that I liked, like they're nice guys. This White Plains Charlie was a nice guy.
So good.
He couldn't stop gambling.
Yeah.
And he was a pretty decent pool player, and he would win occasionally. But he would always want to play people for money. He'd always
Right.
want other people to back him. Like, hey, come on, get behind me. I can fucking beat this guy. And he, no matter what it was, he had to be in action all day long. And in New York, you can bet on horse races.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow or another, they made this fucking, they won't let you have casinos in New York
Right.
City, but you could go to these off-track betting places. You could bet
yeah.
on this fucking guy couldn't stop gambling all day long. And then I started to study him, like as his friend. He was quite a bit older than I was.
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, he was probably already 60.
Did you file that under the what not to do category of your studies?
Filed that under, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up around gamblers, so watching this guy, I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy!"
Yeah.
Like these guys are all addicts.
Yeah. Well, like the old folks that like the slot machine addiction, they also have screen addictions on like
Oh, of
tablets
course,
and stuff like
of
that.
course.
Yeah, yeah.
But this guy would snap the filters off cigarettes. Fuck you.
Oh, gross.
Because I ain't in it for a long time.
Where
I'm in it for
where
a
is
good
he now?
time. He's dead as fuck.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead as fuck.
Feel like I'm not surprised.
It's
But
I enjoy his company for the brief amount of time that I get to
Yeah.
hang out with him. But and he's a kind of a legendary character around White Plains, New York,
Crazy.
pool halls. Yeah, he was a great guy. That's where when I first moved from Boston to New Jersey, I was around a lot of these weird characters at this one
is
particular
this from
pool hall.
like comedy stuff or just from?
Well, one part of it was from comedy stuff because my friend John Tobin, who was also a stand-up comedian, I was friends with him first, and he started working at this pool hall.
Okay.
And then I'm like, wow, well, let's go fucking play some pool.
So you've
And-
been like pool sharking for a long time.
Yeah, but it was just being around weirdos.
Yeah.
This is the point. I'm not that good at pool player.
The
but
first
being
time I
around-
played pool with Joe, he put a glove on, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here? What is this?" It was very intimidating,
It's embarrassing to hear.
and you like were very
It's very
serious.
feminine. I take it serious. I love playing. I mean, I'm not trying
No,
to do
you're so
anything to
good.
you. It's
I
the
don't know how to turn this
balls. Like I have to play the balls correctly.
Yeah,
They demand respect.
don't I know it?
But that was the first time I was ever.
It's terrible.
People want you to take it easy on them. But that was the first time I was ever around like legitimate. I realized I definitely had a point somewhere at the beginning of this, but I've lost it.
No, how you were meeting all these characters in New Jersey, and like
From
pool halls and
Boston.
comedy and.
People understanding addictions, like gambling
Okay.
addictions. I don't know how we started on gambling addictions.
I don't,
This is
I
all so
don't either.
ridiculous. But I just didn't think it was real. I think that's what it was.
Oh, the addiction? Oh, totally.
I thought they were just being weak. And
No.
then being around people that were like really addicted to gambling, I'm like, this is just like a drug. This is like a drug they're giving themselves. They
It's an
don't go to
escapism.
But it is that.
Yeah.
But it's also, they don't go to the drugstore. They go to the, oh my God, what the fuck have I done store? And it
Yeah.
just gets them all day. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then occasionally they win, yay, fuck you.
High highs and high lows
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the you know, and low lows. You know, it's a thing. Oh, I am a gambler. You know,
A big time, damn. How much have you lost?
not a lot. I play poker regularly.
What's the big hit? What's the number one hit?
I mean, like, I don't have a lot of money, so I don't.
What the fuck? Even if it's $100, then.
I want, like, the most I won in one sitting was like literally $500. Just like I was at a 3-card poker table. But I like home games. I like playing poker with my friends.
Do you like
So-
taking your friends' money?
Yeah.
Ooh,
100%.
you
Yeah. That's a hard yes.
You find a lot out about someone when you beat them at a game.
Well,
and
it's a mental
they
game,
get pissy
too.
with you in real life.
No, I like to. You know what? You don't want to play cards with someone who's going to be a dick. It has to be fun.
But it's interesting.
It is. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
They get angry after the game's over,
Yeah.
right?
No. Oh,
Some
yeah.
dudes,
Yeah,
dudes
for
could-
sure.
Some dudes could lose $20
Yeah.
and be pissed at you for a year.
Yeah. That's fun.
Good
It's
times.
a little gratifying.
But it's weird that we get so personally invested in the way cards lay out.
Yeah.
To the point where we're like, fuck you, you're always getting these fucking aces. Like,
Well,
people
it's
get angry.
it's half that, and it's also your, this game, and you have to
it's
read
that
people,
game.
and like you can see how people hold their hand. I can usually tell if someone's got cards. You know, you just pay attention.
Do you think that's what poker is? It's like part like amateur psychic, part a game of craft and skill.
Yeah,
It is
I
a
also
little bit,
just
right?
like the hang of when my landlord has a card game downstairs, and I just walk downstairs with a bottle of tequila and have so much fun and don't need to leave the house and make a couple $100 and then go back upstairs in my apartment.
You know what makes me think
good
it's hypnosis is those dudes that wear sunglasses at the table.
Right.
The threat of looking like
Then
a
you can see their
douche
cards.
is nothing to them comparison to the threat of someone looking into their eyes. They would rather have that extra shield. It seems to me a wise move.
I respect it.
I respect that.
100%.
So you're saying I should wear sunglasses the next
Always.
home? Okay, fine. Thanks,
think-
guys.
I saw Jay-Z in the crowd at the UFC once.
Yeah.
Nighttime, sunglasses. I'm
course.
like, yep, I get it.
Yeah.
You don't want anybody looking in your eyes. You're Jay-Z, it must be annoying. Yo, I got a record. You're like, I got a record. There's a bunch of
You can
dudes
hide.
might be annoying him all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. That's how I feel about wearing hats
Jay-Z.
on stage. I feel like I can hide.
Yeah, look at that guy.
Get outta
Perfect.
here.
Perfect.
That's
I
the
love
move
it.
right there.
That's the move.
I feel like he could wear better sunglasses.
No. Those are perfect for his look.
Are they?
Yeah, look at his that thing,
Those are the-
thing around his neck, the beads.
Mardi
everything,
Gras
the shirt.
beads?
Yeah,
So-
he's partying. That's a fat
So
stack
he
of
showed his
chips.
boobs for those. For that
Woo!
necklace?
No, he's got money, baby. He's got money. Look at all them chips. Look, there's
Damn.
something pretty spectacular about one of those guys that can win those fucking World Series of pool shit. You know who does that?
Who?
Bruce Buffer. Bruce Buffer from the UFC.
Really?
He's a giant poker player. Loves that shit. He's always in like that.
Poker or pool? You said
Poker. Did I say pool?
You did.
I was looking at that fat guy's boobs. I was thinking of things rolling. I didn't mean to, bro.
Yeah, it was distracting.
Chips. I meant chips.
Yeah.
But Bruce Buffer's a killer poker player, like a legit one.
Yeah.
He gets in those World Series of
I
poker
feel like you'd be
events.
really good at poker.
I can't, no chance.
Really?
Zero desire to be sitting. Nothing's happening.
Yeah,
You're
but
moving
you-
paper.
but you
This is-
can-
I'm bored.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair. But I feel like as a, martial artist who your mind game is
Mm-hmm.
such a big element, I feel like you would crush it at a poker table.
Probably not, because it's
Hashtag powerful.
It's not fun to watch for me.
Copy that.
If I watch it, I go, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. I
All
get
right.
sucked into that trap.
Look, I won't push it on you, but I might call you the next time we're having a home game. It'd be really fun to have you there.
I'm terrible. I'll just talk shit. I'll just go there and talk shit until people lose,
There you
or
go.
until I lose. I'm not good at it. It's just because same with golf. Like I've been told to try golf, and I'm like, I'm not interested.
I can't see you as a
I
golfer.
can't. It's
I
not
don't
that I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get stuck.
Yeah.
You guys are stuck.
Yeah.
You guys are stuck in
It's
something
just-
that
it
takes
seems
8
like a
hours
slow,
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't got time.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be out there.
I'll putt, but I just won't golf.
My comedian friends would get into golf. They'd go on the road together with fucking giant golf bags and
hilarious.
shit and travel across the country. Hey, and we'll do golf in the day, and then we'll do jokes at night. And they're always exhausted. You're walking around all day with
Yeah.
clubs and
Yeah.
shit.
Is there a workout element to it? Like, do you?
If
I
you're
guess
poor,
you're walking.
If you're poor, because you got to carry your clubs. But it's also like just the whole thing. You're walking around this course
Right.
for hours and hours, and like lining up shots and then moving to the next shot. And you're concentrating all day.
Yeah.
That shit takes forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
And guys love it. They love it, especially rich dudes. Like rich old dudes who do business love to play golf. They get together and they fucking swat that ball around and chase it.
Things that require like
It's so strange.
an investment in the gear. Yeah.
Bro, we got virtual reality now. And you're out there walking around on the field looking for a ball.
You mean like Golden Tee?
I get it. It's a super skillful game. But it's like, to me, it's interesting as an outsider who's never been bit by the bug. I know that if I tried it, I'd probably get bit by that golf bug. It seems like everybody does. It's an amazing game.
An extracurricular sport that you're into? Like tennis?
No, never done. That seems to me a recipe for meniscus damage that I need for other stupid shit I do.
Yeah, I see.
I need to keep my
hilarious.
meniscus healthy for other stupid
Know
shit.
thyself. I love tennis.
I would get so mad if I couldn't like do jujitsu because I played tennis.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh.
Yeah. That'd be a
so
major hit.
Stupid. That'd be so stupid. This ball doesn't mean anything. I don't care. Get the ball.
Wait
Take
a
it.
second.
Take the fucking ball.
Okay. Take
I
the
don't
ball,
care
not my
about the
meniscus.
ball. I don't care about that ball. You know?
That's a solid reason not to play tennis.
For real, imagine what it must have been like the first time a human being invented a musical instrument. For real. Imagine how
Had to
crazy
have been the
it is.
drum, right?
Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Animal
or maybe
skin.
maybe some sort of a reed that someone blew wind through,
made
sound, mimicking what the wind was doing.
Or bird calls, trying to lure that turkey in. I don't know what they sound like.
Oh my God, some guys can do that insane.
Yeah.
There's
You would know.
contests.
All your hunting buddies and stuff.
They have legit turkey calling contests and elk calling contests where men,
That's
grown
insane.
men with families, grown men who vote and pay taxes, are screaming.
Is it televised?
Oh my God, it is. No, I mean, maybe the Sportsman's Channel might have some footage on it, but mostly, but you can find it on the internet.
Okay.
It's these dudes.
Okay.
Yeah, these dudes. They
of course.
They have these turkey calling contests.
Oh my God.
And they like try to sound the most like a turkey.
Do they do it with their voices
Yeah, they
or
can
like
do it with their voice.
instruments or what?
They can do it. I can't do it with my voice, clearly.
I don't know. I
But
feel like that was
some
pretty
guys
good.
Can. And the elk one, they put like a little thing in their mouth, like it's almost like a reed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a flat reed, and it sits on the top of your mouth.
Yeah.
And they blow into a tube and make these sounds like a really horny male elk.
Yeah.
And they have contests.
Who's
And they
judging
judge.
this?
I know. It's crazy.
Who is?
Yeah. How do you know?
How do you know if it's a good call
It's
or
a
not?
good question. It's a good question.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
That is, wow.
But it's an art
Way to
form, for
think
sure.
outside the
It is. When you
elk
hear
call
it,
box.
there's dudes who can do it that make it sound exactly like an elk. And you're like, wow. And they can talk. They've been around elk for decades, so they can kind of talk elk shit.
And they're also attracted to them a little bit.
A little bit. Probably a little bit. Well, they're beautiful, majestic animals. Don't get weird.
Okay, I'm not
That's
getting
not what I'm
weird.
saying.
Who's getting weird?
But sounds, like, that's probably one of the first sounds, right?
Right.
And mimicking animals.
Yeah.
But then someone figured out how to make a fucking guitar. And no one's topped that shit since. Stop and think about that for a while.
Yeah.
Whoever the fuck made the guitar, that
Well, they were
person
made out of
nailed
like
it.
cat gut or like animal
Yeah,
intestines
fibers,
for the
right?
strings in the
Yeah.
beginning. I know that.
Imagine how bored you have to be before you start doing
It's
that.
how does anyone invent anything? I mean, that is nuts.
Cat gut.
Yeah.
Some cat gut
I'm gonna try
on
it
a
out. Like,
fucking
I don't
big
even know
old
how they do
wooden
it.
thing that I hollowed out for a year.
Yeah, when did like the scales? Like when did tone become a thing? This is fascinating.
It's a weird thought.
I feel like I should know this.
I feel like I should too.
I don't
yeah,
think it's possible
I guess we got
to
some
know.
homework to do. Should we write it on the Staples notepad? This is learn about where the sounds came from.
What do you What do you
Who
think
created
the year
the cat gut
was?
string?
What is it? Was it like the Egyptians? Like who was the first musical instrument creator? Was it the Egyptians that we know of? Like where there's a depiction and an image of a musical instrument. Was it like a harp or something like that? When do you think that would have been?
Well, I would think Yeah, I mean, what year time frame are we talking here for
I don't
Egyptians?
know.
I don't either.
Well, the Egyptians, it was a long empire, but they were alive. This is how crazy it is. Cleopatra was closer, her life existed closer to the birth of the iPhone than it did to the construction of the pyramids.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
How?
Yeah, because Egypt has been around for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2,500 BC is the estimated year that they built the Great Pyramid of Giza. And Cleopatra was like, I think she died. She died in AD, and she died closer to the iPhone. It was like she died like the first couple centuries or something, AD.
That's
So
insane.
the Egyptian Empire had been around for fucking thousands of
Do
years.
you ever think about like in the alien sense, all the conspiracies surrounding the pyramids and things, like do you ever wonder about like more of the extraterrestrial affiliations with the Egyptians?
Not just the Egyptians, but with human beings. And
Yeah.
this is why. Because it sounds ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous when you talk about it. And because it sounds ridiculous when you talk about it, people don't like to talk about it.
Right.
So it doesn't get considered as being a potential reality. But we're so different than every other thing on this rock. There's nothing even close to us. We're so weird. We make music. We can talk. We can send video through the sky.
Yeah.
We understand humor. We understand nuance. We understand chaos and peace and love. And we're constantly making newer and better shit. And there's nothing like us. Everything else is just trying to mate. Eat and mate. That's it, right? Even dolphins. Dolphins are as smart as us, apparently. Or maybe even smarter. They have a giant head. They have huge brains. Their sonar they have all shit that we can't even comprehend. Their language is complex. We don't even know what it is. We know they have a language, but we don't even know what they're saying.
They also like to play. They have games. Same with a lot of birds. Crows like to play.
But we're so different.
Yeah.
We make crazy shit. We can nuke us.
Yeah.
We can nuke each other. We can fucking power our phones with the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, we're weird. We like this fucking wind. I want to turn that shit into electricity. We figure out how to make windmills and planes that soar through the atmosphere. Everything else is just fucking and eating.
Well, sometimes
we're going crazy.
It's all the way nuts.
Right.
Well, like back to where did music come from? Sometimes I wonder if like the people that came up with these things. I mean, obviously you can go to school and learn a trade or become a master of your craft or engineering. But like sometimes I wonder if it's just like some weird other dimensional source that comes out of nowhere.
That's what I think ideas are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ideas.
I think
100%.
I've been saying this for a long time. I think we should think of ideas as a life form that's trying to propagate itself. Because everything that you see came from an idea. Everything.
Yeah.
Every invention, everything, every song that you've ever written and sang, every book that's ever been read, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Every book ever written came from an idea, and then boom, it's a real thing. Like imagine if ideas, because we don't know where they're coming from.
I feel like that when I write sometimes. I'm like, what the fuck?
Do you ever feel like that was like almost like a gift? Like something's giving you a gift?
Yes. Like like it was a channel of sorts.
Like
yes.
But weird, because
Yeah.
it's weird to. I don't want this to be misinterpreted. Like I 100% give you credit for creating it. That's not what I'm saying.
We can cut that bullshit.
But I'm just saying that to people that might get weird about this, that don't get where I'm coming from. What I'm coming from is everybody that I know that creates things has a very similar narrative. They're like, it's coming out of nowhere. Like I just have to be there to get it. You know, there's a thing where you're in the group, and particularly if you spend a lot of time on it and you're working at it and you're passionate about it and you're focused on it. It's almost like a muse, even if it's not real, it's still real. Because there's an accuracy to like if you pretended that there was some God that was bestowing upon you these amazing ideas, if you focused on it and if you led the correct life and lived the right path, then it would give you these gifts if you focused on your art form. And that would be like if someone told you that there was a God doing that, you're like, oh God, that's so ridiculous. Well, what do you give a shit? Who's doing it? It's the same thing. It's like a God's doing it for you. It really does work. Like if you focus on what you're trying to do, these weird moments do come out where creativity like pops up and you don't know where it came from.
Right.
You have an idea will come to you.
I think it's not equal parts, but it's, when you put in the effort to like keep the muscle flex, like the creative one where you're writing regularly or you're practicing regularly, and then you also kind of let it, sort of come in.
Yeah.
It's, I saw Dan Hartman speak once at one of Duncan Trussell's live podcasts, and he had this, he said, he called it the gingerbread man theory. And he said it was almost like he was a giant, I don't know why this was what he said, but he was a gingerbread man, and there was like a big hole in the top of his head, and there was all this shit falling into this hole from somewhere, and every once in a while about 10% of it would lightly dust the rim inside of the gingerbread jar, and that was him, and the rest was other stuff.
Jesus Christ.
I thought that was really interesting. I know, right? I love Rick and Morty. I love Rick and Morty so much.
Oh my God.
But, think about that and then watch Rick and Morty. If you do, you'll be like, oh, I get it. I totally get it.
I do get it.
Yeah.
I do get it.
But
wow,
yeah,
that's
but you
hilarious.
also have to like put in an effort to inspire yourself, inform yourself, read, learn, grow, live, and then you put all that together and,
Have we ever talked about The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield book? Yeah, for anybody that's into, it's not just like writing, but it's kind of about writing. But it's also about like I think everything. There's a weird thing that we call procrastination, and he calls it resistance in the book. It's really interesting because you realize like what it is. There's this weird thing that tries to keep people from being their best at stuff. There's like a weird confusion and stress about it that keeps you from focusing on what you really need to do to be a true professional. And he sort of lays it out in the book in a way that makes you go, oh, yeah, I never thought, because he figured it out like when he was like 40 years old.
Yeah.
Figured out what he had been doing wrong, changed his direction, and then became like super successful as a writer.
Yeah.
And is like really respected as a writer.
Yeah.
And this book is one of the most interesting things because like his history, that he kind of figured out how to get out of his own way and just show up.
It.
Yep, and puts in the work.
Well, because I think a lot of it's subconscious too. It's like you want to succeed and you want to, grow and evolve, but then there's these obstacles of like, but you know what? Today I'm going to do this. I'm going to, you know what? I gotta call. You just kind of procrastinate in this. It's a powerful force, and that can grow into so many things. Your self-doubt. Then, I'm not ready. I can't do that. I'm not ready. I can't play that show or whatever. I'm not. That's not a good example, but
it seems like there's a wrestling match in creative people's heads, particularly like performance artists like you guys, or like comedians or singers, or anybody, where there's a wrestling match between like creating stuff and being disciplined, putting in a lot of work. Or slacking off and feeling like, oh my God, I got to get back to work again, and then being really excited to work hard and get going again. And some people fall too far into one way or the other. And there's like a weird balance in there. Like you almost like have to be scared.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that because that's your vulnerability is a big part of giving an honest thing to a crowd when you're playing music or comedy.
Yeah.
I think that sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much, Gary.
No. Don't worry about it. We're all going to talk for a long time.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we usually do.
Just express yourself. It's okay.
I've played music with folks, and I don't want to like say this in a knock against conservatory students and things like that, but I found that people that are really, really smart in the musical education element, and again, I got a lot of friends, and I hope I'm not stepping on any toes, but it's almost like harder for them to vibe out because they're so smart and they're almost mathematical with their playing, whereas like Gary, like let's just fucking rock, like let's hang out and like find the thing where I think sometimes I've felt like when I've played with people that I know I'm going to get so much shit for this. I'm like kind of embarrassed to say
listen,
it.
You are.
I am going to get so much shit.
You're a
But
nice
that's
person.
not
You're gonna
always
say
the
it in a
case.
nice way.
I'm trying to find the middle ground that's like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to piss off too many people. That's not always the case.
Right,
There are
right.
some brilliant, but like the vibe is where it's at. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, you can go to school and be the smartest and know the map frontwards and backwards, but if you can't feel it when you're playing live and playing with other people, then there's a huge missing element. That's what I want to say. I don't want to, but I think that you almost have more of an obstacle when you have that kind of intelligence with music because it's upstairs.
Gary, do you agree with that, or are we fighting? Are you guys fighting?
We're not. No,
I'm going to be the
God, I hope
referee.
We're not fighting, Joe. No, but I think I understand exactly. I understand exactly what you're
shit.
saying, but I kind of simplify it like this. I think of it like a radio, like you know, back in the day when you would tune a radio, you try and dial in whatever station and you get that clear channel. Sometimes you'd have to move yourself. Sometimes you'd have to just get yourself into that place. And I think that as a musician, for me, what I'm trying to do is gather information around me, gather little things and not consume myself with it. So when I'm in that place to receive that inspiration or that thought or that melody, whatever that is, I'm not clouding myself with doubt or this isn't what this person's doing or whatever. I'm here in this with everybody, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to dial this in. So the noise goes away a little bit less.
So you're a good listener.
You know what I mean?
As a player.
I don't know if this makes sense, but that's
No, it
how I
makes
see it.
perfect
Like,
sense.
it's like, how can I, as an artist, how can I dial into that channel? How can I be the receiver and get that clearest thing? And whatever you were talking about with the ginger, you know, they're saying like that little piece of you at the top is like you're holding on to that thing.
Yeah.
And you know, putting that all out there as a force. It makes sense to me, but that sounds stupid.
No, it
saying out
doesn't
loud,
sound
but
stupid.
It's like some people are so consumed with giving what they
Right.
know
Right.
and pushing everything out there that they're not taking the time to sit back and listen and like just shut the fuck up for a minute and listen to this beautiful inspiration that comes out of nowhere. You know, just like listen to yourself, your inner thoughts, that being, you know. That's so when you show up to a place and you know you're jamming, of course it's gonna be somebody who just comes in and just gives you everything that they know.
Right.
And be like, yo, I just crushed this thing without accepting the fact that like we're a collective here.
Yeah, there's
You
other
know?
people playing.
We're trying to all tune into the same station, and that's when that magic happens. That's when the jam, when you can kind of let yourself go and be that. Whether it's writing or jamming or playing, whatever, recording.
Can I ask you, is this approach something that you've evolved or something you knew intuitively from the jump, that this is how you need to like tune out and like look at things from, don't get too, like the way you're describing your ability to shut the fuck up and look at the world and draw inspiration from the world. Is that something that came to you in time or is it something that you always kind of intuitively knew?
I think it goes back to like sitting around smoking weed with my friends and just like, you know, not getting caught up with the bullshit. You know, just
up with the bullshit.
Not putting so much pressure on myself to be what it is that, you know, is happening. In
God,
the
that's
music
such a
business, or
gift.
Be this type of an artist, to be this. It's like just who am I? And listening to myself, I feel like is listening to the, you know.
This is going to sound...
tuning in that channel.
This is going to sound goofy, but that's what comes out in your music. When you did that Midnight Rider cover, Jamie, find that shit.
Oh no.
Find it. Play it. We must play it and embarrass them. It was such a wonderful moment because I hate using the word wonderful, but I really mean it. It's the only word for that spot.
We know it's just going to be a big resurgence of the whole cell phone thing again.
They don't understand.
That's okay.
No rehearsal. You guys never sang together. You didn't do shit together. You guys bust out Midnight Rider. I love that song. I couldn't tell you the fucking words. If I had to sing it right now, I'd be like, ooh, I might fuck it up. I sing, you know, like I said, that was my early morning smoke weed and go to the radio song. That's a fucking amazing song. Plays
Oh
the
my
shit.
God.
This is one of my happiest moments as an audience. That's Gary Clark Jr. sound right there.
Texas, baby.
What are you playing at 3:35?
That's yours.
That's ours. Yeah. I know. Oh, God.
Fuck, that's good.
That was
God
fun.
damn, that was fun.
That was fun.
Oh,
But that's
man.
what I was talking about. You have a sound, man. If
Yeah.
somebody played me that riff, I'd be like, that's Gary Clark Jr., 100%.
Really?
Or someone pretending to be him.
Well, that's cool.
I'd like to piggyback that because when you came in and played on my tune in July, you were just straight into the amp, and you were doing things with the guitar that I was like, how the fuck is he doing that? And like I don't. It's you. It's this guitar, but you didn't have any pedals. You were just straight in.
Yeah, I was just out there.
It was great. You know, I have video of you playing, and I love it because you're just so sweaty.
I was a hot,
And
sweaty mess.
It was
I don't
well.
know.
It's a good story because and I'm just like so grateful it worked out. But we, my dear friend John Spiker, who produced the record, he's a hell of a guy, and it was like the whole day. We had texted about you coming in, and you were flying in from Austin with your family, and you said, "I think I'm going to make it," and then you said you couldn't make it, and John Spiker he also plays bass in Tenacious D, and Tenacious D was having this like secret show happening for Kyle Gass's birthday in Burbank, and John was kind of like MDing the whole night and all this stuff, and so I was like, Gary can't make it, and then like a little while later, you're like, I can make it. I'm getting in an Uber. I'm headed to the studio. And then I was like, shit, John, we gotta go to the studio. And I couldn't get a hold of him because he was in soundcheck. So I'm like calling all his friends, and I'm like, we gotta go. And then finally he's like, I'll be there in 20 minutes. I was like, me too. And we get to the studio, and the air conditioning wasn't quite on. And it was in July, so it was like 100 degrees outside, and it was very hot in there, like kind of insane. And we had a half an hour for Gary to play. You did like 7 passes, and it was so amazing. I have video of this, and I can't, if I haven't sent it to you, I have to because it's so great. And you're just fucking shredding and sweating. And then when you left, you're like, I feel like I just played a show because it was so hot.
Yeah,
it was great. It was one of my favorite days. And then I got to go watch Tenacious D play in this shitty bar, and it was honestly, I was just like, this was a great day.
That's
Well,
amazing.
We've been trying to do something together, so.
Yeah, I'm so stoked,
And
man.
the song is fire, so I appreciate you.
Thank you, likewise. But yeah,
Great
this guy.
guitar is something that's been a part of this, you know, the music history of great guitar is it's a crazy history.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of the absolute most powerful inventions that human beings ever created was the guitar and then the electric guitar. Because some of the fucking inspiration has come from some songs
Yeah.
that just make you just jump and scream and dance around your house. I mean, stop and think about it. I mean, there's the vocals for sure. There's the singing. There's the bass. There's the drums. But goddamn, a fucking electric guitar needs to be there. That's the one variable you can't remove.
Guitar riffs change lives, man.
They do.
Yeah, agreed.
They make you
Agreed.
fucking pumped. You could be on an elliptical machine ready to quit. And Kickstart My Heart comes on. Come on.
Oh, God.
I mean, come on. That will fire you the fuck up. You'll find that extra juice, right?
That's hilarious. That's so funny that you say that is what motivates you, because when I'm like on tour and I don't want to work out, I think about you saying conquer your inner bitch. And I'll be like, fucking gotta get to that gym downstairs.
We all
you know?
have that inner bitch.
Oh, sure
We
do.
all have that inner bitch. It's like, come on.
Some of us have an outer
Suzanne.
bitch too.
You just need your rest. You need to sleep. 10 hours isn't enough.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Let's have a coffee. Let's just let's eat something and then let it digest and we'll work out later. Right? We all play little weird mind games. That's your inner bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all transparency though, per the workout, portion of this conversation, I definitely at this point in my life work out harder than I ever did in my 20s.
Wow.
I love it.
That's awesome.
It makes me feel so good.
What'd you start doing?
Well, last year when I played with Hosier, the Irish dude, we had a big tour, and one of the girls in the band, Rachel Beauregard, this amazing woman, she's a yoga instructor and just like kind of an natural athlete, and she would just work us out almost every day.
Whoa.
And so every day we would do, like just about every day, yoga or like circuit training, or she'd like have a group text in the gym. And it just like my mental game alone was just to have that release almost every day was great. And I used to be pretty lazy with working out. And so now I work out almost every day, if not every other day. I like take a day off every other day.
That's fucking awesome.
Thanks. Just trying to make you proud. Better? So much better. Across the board. But like, I love my body, but I also love like the effort,
Yeah.
I feel good. And then I can, go drink as much as I want and I don't feel bad about it.
Well, there goes that health endorsement.
No, I'm going to get like a Buffalo Trace endorsement. That's what I'm really angling for. Come on now.
Yeah, I think the real problem is drinking and not working out. I really think that.
Yeah.
I think
By
that's
the way,
real
cheers,
problem.
everybody.
Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers, guys.
Love you guys.
I love you guys too. That's hilarious.
It's fun.
But it's so many people that are suffering from depression that don't work out. I'm like, please, people, please, please. It's a world changer. It's better than a drug.
That and meditation.
Yeah, but you don't even have to fucking go somewhere, man. There's so many videos online. If you're depressed, just please just try something physical. There's a drug that comes out when you do something physical, and you could do like simple burpees in your apartment. You could do something. But there's something that happens when you work out. It's not just like, like a vanity project. There's actual like benefits to your outlook, and that's what people. There's people that make rationalizations, and they base those rationalizations off the worst negative stereotypes of someone who works out all the time.
Right.
CrossFit bros or bodybuilder dudes.
Yeah, but most of those people are like pretty happy. A
lot happier than you, bitch.
Yeah, it's true. It's totally true.
I don't mean you,
yeah,
obviously.
I was like, you really pointed at me, and I was like, wait a second.
I meant that person out there critiquing and criticizing them. That's what I meant. There's so many people that, I think we have requirements. I think our body has requirements in terms of like energy expenditure and also threat. There's worry and like about nature itself. And when that doesn't exist anymore, I think the best thing that you could do is challenge yourself all the time with stuff. And like one of the best way to challenge yourself is like do something that's difficult and do something physical, because physical things are always difficult. So if you do something difficult, meaning something that you have to concentrate on getting better at and think about, and then also do something physically difficult so that your body gets its demands and you can see things more clearly.
Right.
Because there's the people that don't ever get a hold of their body also don't get a hold of their emotions.
Right.
They spaz out.
Well, per the CrossFit thing, too, it's like there's a sense of community there, too.
Yes.
Like these folks they have each other's backs, they're motivating each other. And, a lot of times when you kind of are like, I'm going to hit the gym and you kind of go solo, there's a different trajectory, I think,
Totally.
I mean, some people can do a really good job at that. I personally can't. I will crap out pretty early and just be like, yeah, it's pretty good, But if someone's pushing me, then I'll stick with it.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's the best way is for a class that's fun, like a jiu-jitsu class or an MMA class or a CrossFit class. Or, I know there's F45 and Orange Theory.
Yeah, my friends are into that.
Yeah, a lot of people are into that because there's a bunch of people working out together. It's motivational.
But I don't do well when someone like kind of like makes fun of me for not keeping up. Like
that's not nice.
I was in a spin class once, and I've never really spun before. And it was hurting my back for some reason. Like I don't think I had my bike at the right height or whatever, not to make an excuse for myself, but I wasn't keeping up. And the instructor kept calling me out in the class. and being like, I know you hate me there in the back in the red pants. And I was like, yes, I do, bitch. I fucking hate you. And I'm never coming back here again. I was so mad.
That's so funny. There's something about people making fun of people that they think is effective.
I didn't like
to
it.
get you to get going.
I'd rather have positive reinforcement.
That's usually better.
You're doing good. Let's keep going.
Also,
See, that would have been
you're
fine.
in the middle of a fucking class. You're vulnerable. You're exhausted.
So vulnerable.
So vulnerable, you know? But that's a physical and it's also like a social experience. Like when you do a class with a bunch of folks. Because you kind of feed off each other's energy whether you like to admit it or not. You know, and you kind of, like, it's fun. You see everybody's pushing.
Yeah.
It's how I feel about yoga class. I could do yoga by myself.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot better if I'm in a room full
Totally.
of people. We're all in this fucking struggle together.
Yeah.
90 minutes of bullshit.
Yeah.
You know?
Speaking of yoga, I took a yoga class yesterday, walk out of my class in Silver Lake, Duncan Trussell standing there.
Powerful Duncan
And I think
Trussell.
he was there for the afternoon mindful meditation.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds like Duncan.
Yeah.
Probably high as fuck.
Yeah,
Probably didn't even
I
know if
think-
you were really
you.
you.
Know what? Honestly, I said hi, and he went, hey, and looked away, and then I took my sunglasses off, and I was like, hey, it's me, Suzanne. And he was like, oh, I don't think he
Thought
actually...
you were a CIA plant trying to drag him away from
Sorry,
his happy
Duncan.
family.
Love you, buddy.
Duncan Trussell's one of the great influencers.
He's
out there.
amazing. I did his podcast a couple months ago. It was really
He
fun.
might have the best Twitter page in the known universe because he's the only one that's never succumbed to taking anything seriously.
Yeah.
And, like, he has the most preposterous, like, suggestions for the future in the world. And,
Yeah.
and his fucking Twitter page is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
He's a funny dude. He's so
What
smart,
does he
too.
have? Jamie,
Yeah.
what does he got? What
Yeah.
is that? I don't know. Is that on his page? Yeah. It's a bloody dick? What is that?
It looks like...
Yo, what the?
What is that? I took
Oh,
the fake salami challenge. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either, but I'm disturbed.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. That looks like... I don't know. That's Duncan.
It's a good detour,
But
yeah.
His
If
whole
you've never
fucking
met him,
Twitter page.
he's a fascinating
He's
fellow.
hilarious. He's a hilarious comedian. Duncan and I became friends when he worked at the Comedy Store. He was one of the people. He was a comic there, but he was also the dude who you would call in. Like if you're in town, you'd say, "Hey man, I'm in town Monday and Wednesday," and they put you on the lineup. And so
Right.
I'd call Duncan. So I would give him my days, and then
Yeah.
we would wind up talking on the phone for like fucking hours. Like, dude, do you know about Aleister Crowley?
Oh, my God.
Crazy conversations about
Yeah.
witchcraft
Yeah.
and fucking psychics
Yep.
and UFOs and the reptilians.
Oh,
and,
my God.
Oh my God! And then we just became tight just from talking on
Yeah.
the phone when I would call in for my reservations
Yeah.
or the days that I was in town. And then we started doing gigs together.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's one of the most interesting people I've ever met in my life. I don't know anyone like him.
He's incredible. He's
100%
fascinating.
unique.
Yeah. I don't know if it's okay to say this on air. Maybe.
Don't say it.
Okay.
Yeah, keep it together.
Yeah. I will. No, but like he continues to he's like, yeah. There's no one like him.
No,
Yeah.
he's a truly unique gem.
Yep.
And
I'll
his
tell you that
podcast,
story later.
Yeah, I think I know the story. That's why I told you. He cease and desist. Pull out, soldier.
Oh man.
Bullets
good
are
catch.
flying by. He barely got out of that
Get
fucking.
out of there.
I
Yeah,
never
he
know
wouldn't.
because
I
I
get it, 'cause
forget
you're-
sometimes that this is a televised platform and we have to
This goddamn Buffalo
Keep some
Trace
cards
whiskey
to
fucking
ourselves.
with your mind.
I'm not
Yeah.
mad at this buffalo.
I love
It's
this
pretty
stuff.
good.
Do you know this company was founded? It sounds like a commercial because I do commercials for them, but it's real. They were founded in the 1700s. It's the
What?
same company. They even operated through Prohibition. They had medical weed licenses, right, for people in California. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, they had medical weed licenses for people in California. Thank you, though. I know what you're doing. You try to get my back. For people in California before it was legal, right? But before alcohol was legal, you could get a medicinal alcohol use license.
right. Wait,
So
this
if
is
you
during
had a dirty
Prohibition,
doctor,
Yeah,
if you had a dirty doctor during Prohibition,
Yeah.
like the man gets shakes, the only thing that can help him
Is
is the whiskey.
whiskey.
And it's fucking write on some scroll and hand it to you.
God,
You know,
what a racket.
But this fucking company did that all
Yeah.
through Prohibition. So they've been making whiskey for like
Crazy.
300 fucking years.
I love that.
It's bonkers.
It's a good story.
Well done.
I was
Yeah.
reading about the
weird.
Prohibition era, same time period. I read that there was like a religious exemption also, and
that's
I
hilarious.
think it was
For wine.
for Judaism. If you were a rabbi, you could I don't know the way that you could disperse alcohol, but there were also no limitations into what it took to become a rabbi.
What
So
about
Catholicism?
anybody-
Yeah, blood of
anybody
Christ.
could become a rabbi, though. There were hundreds of rabbis popping up
man.
everywhere.
Oh, just so you could get a hold of the
Yeah,
whiskey?
just they could just
That's
drink.
incredible.
That's a good move.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a great
I
podcast.
turn to a rabbi, but that's a lot of work. Like,
I don't think they were working. I think they were just
okay, but can you be an
Running bars
honorary
there.
rabbi like you be an honorary doctor? Because like to be a rabbi and to go through all of the literature.
Would
that
you? Is the question.
Well, whether you would or not, if you wanted to do it, it's no moral judgment or ethical judgment. It's a fucking immense amount of work. Like if you to go from learning Judaism to being
Yeah.
a fucking rabbi,
Yeah.
like that's not an easy path.
Well, that's kind of
They
like
make that shit hard.
That's kind of like in the Terrence McKenna book, True Hallucinations, where he is studying. He goes to Tibet, and he's trying. I'm gonna totally butcher this because I literally read it this morning. He's trying to go to this like. God, this is so bad. Okay, help me out if you remember what I'm talking about. Where he's
I haven't read it since 2002.
okay.
So, or somewhere in that range when I first started really getting into McKenna. I don't necessarily. I mess that up with Food of the Gods too all the time.
Okay, help me out here. So if he's studying Buddhism and he's really trying to get to this like top level.
Was that the I Ching when he was interested in the I Ching?
No, he's trying to get to. It's almost like a heretic, like cultish area of shamanism that also involves psychedelics, and he had all these preconceived ideas about like what they were doing, but it was sorely frowned upon for him to go study with these people. But he needed to learn the language first. Does that make sense? I'm just butchering this. We should delete this later.
What was the point though? What was how?
Well, like
struggling
the
to
point
remember
is, he was posing as a student studying one thing, but he really wanted to get to this other thing that had primarily to do with psychedelics, and was frowned upon in that religious community. It's bad. Are you looking?
Well, no. He was into that with almost every religious community, and he had a pretty firm belief that all religious experiences initially were the result of psychedelics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was big on this theory that he had that his brother actually does almost a better job of explaining, called the Stoned Ape Theory. And
Okay.
his theory was that humans became human because of psychedelic mushrooms.
Interesting.
And that the psychedelic mushrooms are the aliens, and that psychedelic mushrooms exist in other planets, and they came over here on asteroids and slammed into the Earth because the spores can survive in a vacuum. And so this weird life form that actually breathes air like us.
Yeah. No,
and they exist almost
other.
instantaneously. Yeah, they're weird. Like to deny that mushrooms are weird, like you definitely haven't done them then. Because if you don't think that might be alien life, like you haven't done them, or
Right.
you haven't done enough.
I'm not mad at that.
You into
It's
psychedelics,
not-
Gary?
That might be
What?
where the
You
aliens.
into psychedelics?
I'm into them. Yeah.
So
cool.
remember, so the story
I'm a
about
fan.
people being like created people by aliens that we were talking about earlier. Maybe the aliens are the mushrooms. And that's what McKenna believed. McKenna
Yeah.
had this theory that, and he had a bunch of like fucking science behind it. In a weird, and the way I say fucking science should show you. I have no idea what I'm really talking about.
It made sense to me. I get
But it's a great theory about the reason why humans went from lower hominids to human beings
Right.
was because we ate mushrooms. And that
Enlightenment.
it's the
Yeah.
reason why the human brain doubled over a period of 2 million years was the
Crazy.
regular consumption of psicillibin mushrooms
Yeah.
because it existed all around us and that we ate them all the time. And that eating them all the time literally caused some sort of fucking neural enhancement of the animal. I mean, it's a super controversial theory. But when you listen to his brother Dennis talk about it, Dennis is, he's alive and well and a super brilliant guy.
Yeah.
And he explained it to me in semi-scientific terms. I say semi because I don't know what the fuck he really meant. But the way he explained the development of language and then that the reasons why psilocybin could actually have enhanced the development of language.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense.
I mean, the core of their mission when they went into the Amazon in the 70s with no cell phones, no sat phones, they could there could have been 24 things that could have killed them on their way to
people.
this village, is like profound in and of itself.
Yeah.
And the dedication to their study, it like is blowing my mind, and it makes me feel like I haven't lived at all.
Well, when you hear did you ever hear the La Trujera story where Dennis McKenna talks about eating so many mushrooms that he literally like lost all knowledge of who he was and what life was for
Crazy.
like weeks.
Whoa.
Like became
No, I don't know. I didn't get to that
had
part
like
in the book
this
yet.
Crazy breakthrough / breakdown / expansion contraction supernova inside of his brain that left like fucking reeling for a long period of time. I don't want to say how long it was, but Terrence described it and he described it like he just went bonkers.
Yeah.
He ate so many mushrooms like he crossed over to the other side and then he came back.
I mean, I've never done the like hero's dose, you know, well, that's not true. But I think that like there's this part of me that's like,
I think he did a God's dose. I don't think he did a hero's dose. I think it was Thor. The Thor shits on heroes.
Oh my God.
He did Thor's
God.
dose of mushrooms. Because if he was by himself, would he have remembered to eat? Would he have remembered to go to the bathroom? Would he have remembered to take showers?
Did he have people with him?
Who knows? I'd have to review the story, but he's so fucking smart. It's confusing. He's one of those dudes. You talk to him, you're like, how do you remember all this stuff? Like, what do you? He would talk to me about the actual origins for speech and like why it could have been connected to psilocybin and the impact that psilocybin has on the brain. And then it's this weird thing. It's like
that's a comforting thought, though. The man has done so many drugs that,
he's great.
But he's still like on top of his intellect.
He's
you know,
easy to talk to.
That's really cool.
He's a super, super, super nice guy too. But it's almost like there's a key slot in our brain for mushrooms. It's like, oh, here you go, clunk.
Yeah.
It just fits right in. It just locks right in place, and it might be the reason why we are who we are. And somewhere along the line, we forgot.
You know, I've definitely. Okay, if this isn't okay to say on the air, we could take it.
It's totally okay.
But I've microdosed, you know, after tours.
Who are you? What have you done with Suzanne?
Why I just decided to choose that this was the time to not talk about mushrooms. But like when I was sad after tours, like I don't know, Gary, if you get like this, but I'd have this like come down of like depression for a couple weeks after the road, and like there's that initial excitement to be home, but then your body isn't used to the non-momentum, or you're like, you know, like the train stopped, but you kind of keep going another, you know, 100 yards or 500 yards or whatever, and I would get really sad, and I'd come home and sort of feel like I didn't know how to come back to my reality, and it's lonely, it's kind of, you know, whatever, but I would microdose a little bit and it would just kind of get me out of my depression, the tiniest bit. I wouldn't even trip. I would just take a little bit of, you know, and I think there's obviously like this is nothing new, but
I know dozens of people are doing that now,
but it's something that I like, I think is really profound and helpful. It has been in my life. But
a lot of people agree with you.
It's so funny that I thought after all we've been talking about, this is the moment where I'm going to get a phone call from the feds. I think I'm drunk.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, we definitely had a little bit to drink.
I'm happy with it.
Do you know that's on the ballot to decriminalize mushrooms?
Right, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it, but
they're trying to push it through, and thanks to people like MAPS, that organization run by Rick Doblin is doing all this crazy work to try to show the benefits of psychedelics, particularly with MDMA and soldiers who have PTSD and other people.
MDMA and soldiers.
Yes, MDMA and people victims of violence, victims of auto accidents is a really common one for PTSD. A lot of people get in auto accidents and have that.
Yeah.
And they're doing this work with PTSD and MDMA, and they're trying to show like this is a legitimate therapy that's probably like highly effective. We should look at it like that instead of looking at it like some illegal drug that's only terrible.
Right.
And so,
well, you got pharmaceutical companies that are gonna want their, you know, take on it, which
that's the problem, is that they have influence.
Yeah.
The problem is not that they exist, because they make a bunch of amazing shit. Pharmaceutical drug companies make amazing shit, and it keeps a lot of people alive and keeps a lot of people healthy. But they also are invested in making tremendous amounts of money. And
they're like cell phones.
If they find a threat, to that money,
Right.
then they move in politically and they
Yeah,
try
it's
to
scary.
stop that threat. And they'll hold back certain drugs from being turned legal that are really beneficial that might cut into their profit margin.
Well, I like briefly told you about Saraset, the sleep therapy I did.
Yeah, tell me more about it.
Oh my God. So I have had insomnia for over a decade. Like most months I could look back and tell you what days I could count on one hand that I slept, like 8 hours. So I would fall asleep and then wake up 3 hours later and just kind of deal with the night and in and out. And it is and was a really tough way to live. You know, you kind of just, it sort of rules your world. A really good friend of mine, my friend Jake, I met with him in December, and he said, I really think you should try this program. It's called Saraset, and what it is he helped me obtain a like a mobile device for my house, but they have facilities all over the country, and what it is these sensors are, you wear this headband and it has sensors on your frontal and temporal lobes, and it comes with a tablet that is basically bouncing sound waves off of your skull. So you listen to these series of tones that are like ding, 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 ding. There's no order to it. And it is sort of measuring the brainwave activity inside your skull and then evening it out, right or left brain. It sounds so crazy.
Dude.
It sounds so crazy. All I can tell you is that I dedicated myself to it for 5 weeks. You don't have any alcohol. You don't have any marijuana, not even CBD. Yeah, you feel me? Can you do it? I know you can. You do your Sober October.
Yes,
So
I can do it.
I was, the first 2 weeks were horrible. The first 2 weeks were like, it got worse before it got better. But I can tell you right now, for the first time in over a decade, I'm sleeping through the night.
Whoa.
Like I never was. I mean, obviously, if I'm like partying with my friends, I'm not going to sleep through the night. But I have
So
like,
it did it.
It's so different. My life is like, and
Whoa.
I have a different, like my anxiety is kind of chilled out.
Because
So-
of sleep. That makes sense.
Yeah, but also
you're recovering better.
So something I learned through Saraset was that I talked to this woman in Indianapolis that was helping me like with the program, and she had she was like, "Have you had any significant head injuries?" Which I have. I had a jet ski accident when I was 22, and I got fucked up. I got concussed, and I had like 2 points of impact. It was really bad, and she said you would be surprised at how that can have an effect on your like flight mode. Like I've been in like run from a tiger mode kind of thing. And, basically the program is tailored to people with PTSD, head injuries, or just high stress levels. And yeah, man, it's been great.
That's amazing.
I'm really grateful that I had a friend who was looking out for me to help me with it, because I mean, I was just kind of getting used to not sleeping,
There's
like
a
regularly.
A woman who used to fight for the UFC. Her name is Kat Zingano. She's a badass chick from San Diego, and she had a fight with Amanda Nunes, who's the UFC current bantamweight champion.
Okay.
And this was before she was a champion, and Kat actually wound up winning the fight, but she got battered in the first round, like really bad, and her brain was fucked up
Oh, God.
for a long time after that. Like she had like significant imbalances in her hormone levels, and it was like legitimate brain damage. Like
Oh,
she
my
had
God.
issues to the way her brain got rocked so hard in the first round, and she actually came back and stopped Amanda Nunes, which is crazy, considering how much damage she had taken in that first round. But she went to this place in San Diego that treats soldiers, and I can't remember the name of the place. Do you remember the name of that place, Jamie? And they used something similar where there was magnets, like very, very
weird.
powerful magnets, and through some way it stimulates the areas of the brain that's been damaged, and
Right.
it regenerates the tissue,
Yeah.
or regenerates the use of that part of the brain. I don't understand.
I don't understand it either, but like,
But-
sound is vibration. So it's doing something. I mean, all I can say is that like I feel a dramatic difference.
That's amazing. That's so nice.
It's
to hear.
crazy, yeah.
How does someone? And this is not an ad.
It's not.
We just need to tell
I'm not
everybody,
getting paid for
How
this.
does someone find out about this? What's the website?
You could just probably Google Saraset. It's CERESET, and they have facilities that are kind of popping up all over the place. There's another company. I'm not sure what they're called.
Is this a place you went to, or is this something
no,
you brought to your house?
This is a really good friend of mine who was just looking out for me and knew how bad my insomnia was, and he had a similar version of insomnia. And everybody's different. You know, everybody's got their like some people can stay awake all night, you know.
For real. How long before our robot overlords take control of our brains
I don't
and
know.
relieve us from all the pain and suffering that it is to be human?
I know.
I was wearing headgear.
I was worried I was going to turn into a cyborg.
I know. Dude, how long?
Now I am bionic.
The more I think about aliens, the more I think they're us in the future. That's one of the theories that has always been bounced around, because if you look at what a human looks like versus what a gorilla looks like, if you keep going with that, it'll be some weird skinny thing that doesn't need any muscles and has a big giant head that controls space and time around it. You know, it's like that's probably what we're turning into, and we're going to do it through electronics. We're going to introduce something into our brain, whether it's that Elon Musk thing they're trying to do where they're drilling holes and putting wires in your brain. Neuralink. It's gonna be. You're gonna have like super fucking accelerated ability to access information. It'll be always at the tip of your fingers. I'm guessing. You know, eventually.
I mean,
how long before we're robots?
We already are.
We're gonna give up.
We are. It's already like, I don't know.
It's just gonna give you love 24/7 through an IV drip, and you're gonna take it over real life.
I mean, you don't think this is a simulation right now?
It might be. It might be. It might be. Or it might not be, and that's the problem. The problem is it's so weird, it might as well be a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bonkers, it might as well be a simulation. It is. It's weird. We're watching some political Game of Thrones type shit.
Oh, my God.
On television.
That's a scary way to put it.
It's fascinating.
It is.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Now what do we do? What do we do now?
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah. Every once in a while I wake up and I'm like, I think I just woke up in a different dimension. Like, I know that sounds crazy.
It
but
doesn't sound crazy, though.
Some of this stuff is so overwhelming. The way we're changing so quickly.
Yeah.
And the information that's coming at us that I don't know if I'm shutting down or if I'm just like going to another place. You know?
We are currently alive and conscious on a raft headed to a waterfall.
Cool.
That's what's going on. We're waking up as this is happening going, holy shit.
Great.
What the fuck is what's changing so quickly?
Yeah.
We're going 25 miles an hour straight towards a goddamn waterfall. It's definitely going to kill us.
You know what though? I don't, Gary, how are you doing? Gary's empty. We need to get Gary a refill.
Let's get a refill up in this bitch.
I could probably choose to pee. Does anyone have to pee?
Yeah, you can go pee.
Can I?
Yes,
Thank
go
God.
pee.
Thank God.
Gary and I will see nice things about you.
Oh, God, I hope so.
Yeah, we're only about positivity these days.
this is a
After this
place of
conversation,
love.
we're going to try to figure out some sort of a national mantra. We should keep it positive, people.
We should probably play another
Keep it
song
positive.
before some of us
Fuck
get
yeah.
too drunk.
Oh, wait, you? You're fine.
He wants to go mezcal.
You're
Do I?
fine.
No, I don't know if
Mezcal.
I don't know if I want to.
Mezcal's dangerous. Do you want to
Man.
open up this stuff? This is the stuff that Suzanne brought. 4 Roses, small batch.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Okay. If you're up for that.
Please hand me your glass, kind sir.
Oh, thank you, kind sir.
Jamie, we need to get some sort of glasses made out of animal horns up in this bitch.
Makes it not a glass, though.
Whatever, bro. Someone's got to be
goblet.
technical.
I was
Like a
thinking
Yeah,
like
yeah,
glasses, like.
Jamie's all fucking technical and shit.
You guys cool if I doodle a little bit?
Dude,
I got
please
this thing
do.
just sitting here.
Please do.
I owe you that guitar, I told you. But they only made them in yellow.
Dude, I don't care what color any guitar you want to bring here is. It could be bright pink. I'll put that motherfucker on the wall right next to Richard Pryor.
Oh, yeah?
Right there. Pow!
Bam.
Woo!
That'd be nice.
Let's make it happen.
I got one for you.
Did I ever tell you the story about my friend Phil Hartman? When he was a kid, he was a roadie for Jimi Hendrix for one night. He was like whatever you would call it, a grip, someone who's on the staff,
stage tech, or something like that.
Yeah, stage hand.
Yeah.
And he was a teenager, and Hendrix is at the whiskey, and he's there putting his hands on the speakers, making sure they don't fall over because they were kind of perilously close to the edge, and Hendrix is just fucking going off. He was just going off right in front of him. Right in front of him. And he said, dude, he goes, he was feet away from me. I could have touched him. He was Hendrix. Phil Hartman told me me and Phil Hartman got high a couple times when we did news radio together. It was one of the only couple of times that I got high during that era. It wasn't much. He got high. He got high a lot. As a matter of fact, I might not have even gotten high. I definitely got drunk. Anyway, he was telling me about when he was a teenager that he worked with Jimi Hendrix. He was a stage tech at the Whiskey.
Wait, so how old was Phil then? He must have
When
been...
I met him, I want to say he was 46 when I met him, coming off of Saturday Night Live.
So like 90s?
94 is when I met him.
Okay.
And I want to say he was like late 40s. So when he was a teenager...
Jimmy died in late 70s, right?
He died in 1970, I think, right?
Oh, early...
70, yeah.
Okay.
70, straight up.
So
Damn.
how old was Phil? So when I met Phil, it was 94. That was 24 years later. Does that make sense? If he was like 19 at the time or something like that.
Wow.
So anyway, he's a kid, and Hendrix is right in front of him, and his job is to make sure that the speaker doesn't fall into the crowd. So he's standing there, and he's looking up at the stage. He's standing in front of the stage, and fucking Jimi Hendrix is right in front of him in his prime. You know, when everything is going down, you couldn't believe he was real. You couldn't believe he's standing right in front of you.
God.
Like a Hendrix didn't exist before. There's no pre-Hendrix. There's just Hendrix, and everything else is like what? Like you read about Eric Clapton, like Eric Clapton's quotes about seeing Hendrix play for the very first time. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because you realize, like, with these top of the food chain guitarists, go to see Hendrix and they go, "What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
What is he doing? What the fuck is happening here?" Yeah. And then Phil said it was happening right in front of him. Phil, would dabble in music for fun. He really enjoyed like playing guitar and fucking around. Wow. So for him to be a kid and to be standing right in front of Hendrix performing was like, whoa.
Wow.
Did he know at the time? Did he say he knew at the time that was like?
Well, he was a fan at the time.
Okay.
But God, I mean, this is like I guess it has to be like 69 or 70, whenever that day was.
What was Jimmy's like reign? Before he was like playing clubs and then playing, to the magnitude
That's
that
a
he
good question. That's a good question.
I'm not sure exactly. I know he just made records for a handful of years.
Before
before
really
this
getting out there and playing live?
I think playing live and stuff, it was like he was doing like the chillin' circuit, playing with the Isley Brothers,
Right.
and playing with people like Little Richard, being like the backup guitar.
Right on.
Wow.
Okay.
And they didn't like him doing all that fancy playing with his teeth and behind
That's
his head
so
bullshit,
funny.
so they fired him.
Quit drawing attention to yourself. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Nah, don't be great on my stage, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going
fuck.
somewhere else with that.
There's some sounds, like one of my favorite influences of Jimi Hendrix is Stevie Ray Vaughn. One of my absolute favorites, because he managed to mimic Jimi Hendrix in a tribute way, but also make it kind of his own. Like he did some shit that was clearly he had a sound.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughn had a sound.
Yeah.
But he was a clear Jimi Hendrix fan.
Yeah.
Like a super fan. Like there was a giant influence of him, you could tell.
Yeah.
But yet he was different. Like it wasn't offensive. It's like when he did Voodoo Child, Stevie Ray Vaughn's Voodoo Child is fucking slamming. Have you ever heard it?
I mean,
Woo!
yeah.
I mean,
It's
not
fucking
enough,
amazing.
but-
Stevie Ray Vaughn's Voodoo Child is amazing. It's not better, but it's fucking amazing.
That's great.
It's a Stevie Ray Vaughan, almost like
Tip of the hat kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a tribute in a way.
Cool.
It's got fucking force behind it.
Yeah.
Woo! It's good. It's good. It's another great workout song.
Yeah.
Right after Kickstart
I think
Your
you're
Heart,
starting a whole
go right
playlist
into
for
that.
everybody right
Voodoo
now.
Child with Stevie
damn.
Ray. Yeah. Man. Oh, did someone mix it together?
There's a video on YouTube with both of them back to back.
Oh,
Whoa.
wow.
First part
That's
is
too
Jimmy,
much. I
sort of
can't
skipping.
take
I've never seen
it.
this before.
Or it really might mix them together, I think. I don't know.
Damn.
Wow.
Well, that's another guy that, like, there wasn't a Stevie Ray Vaughn before Stevie Ray Vaughn. He's a unique human.
Yeah.
Like, he had a very, very unique sound.
Yeah, there's
And cactus shirt. Let's be honest.
He's just all around dope.
I would wear that.
I've seen this video multiple times for over 20-something years. I never noticed the cactus.
Gary, come on. You're a very fashionable man.
Is he from Austin? Where's he from?
Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas.
Dallas.
His brother
Damn.
Jimmy
Dallas.
Vaughn, yeah.
Dallas.
Texas
Beautiful.
boys, man.
God damn, a lot of good shit comes out of Texas.
Sure does.
Yeah, man.
Exhibit
Freedom.
A.
Freedom.
Exhibit A.
Chaos. It's a great spot.
It's all there. Well, they took a good chunk of the fucking country and claimed it as.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot going on.
Giant.
There's
I have a love-hate
Giant
relationship with
chunk.
Texas. I don't want to
Oh
say
my
hate,
God, how dare
but
you.
it's
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
hold on. Yeah, how
Shut-
dare hold
It's
on.
so hot.
Let's talk
It
about this
gets
hate.
too
Let's talk
hot.
about this hate real quick.
Too hot.
Let's get
It's
this
too
out of the way.
hot, Gary.
Okay.
That's why it's not
Can we
overwhelmed
talk
with
about
people.
that? I'm not going to get political. I'm just
No,
like
listen.
as a texture.
That too hot.
It's too hot.
that too hot is a security system to keep too many people from
For
moving in.
fuck's sake! I mean, you can't even go outside.
That's why it's so good.
It's true.
It's perfect. If you could take that sauna heat,
Yeah.
all right, just condition yourself.
Sure.
Get a sauna in your
Yeah,
house.
okay.
And get used to living in
now
Dallas.
it's romantic.
great.
Yeah.
Nah, that's great. I love
Yeah.
it there.
Yeah.
I love doing
You're
stand-up there.
Like main spot. That's your main hub.
Yeah, Texas.
Yeah.
That's the main home.
Austin, Texas is one of the best places on the
It
planet
is.
Earth.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it now, unfortunately. You get on the
Yeah.
highway, you're like, oh, the word got out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the traffic's no
joke.
fun there. Yeah, it's pretty.
Some
pretty
people say,
gross.
like, Houston fucked Austin.
So you mean Houston fucked Dallas?
Yeah,
Wait.
Houston fucked Dallas and made Austin. That's what I should say.
That's what they say?
Yeah, I've heard that before. Austin is a weird spot, right? It's like Austin is like somehow or another, it's not.
It's not as
Yeah.
watered down as the last
but
one.
it's in between. It's there's the desert out west, and then there's New Orleans and Louisiana.
Yeah.
But Austin is particularly artistic in some weird way. Not entirely, but there's a giant chunk of artists out of Austin, like fierce artists.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of in Austin. There's a lot of focus on independence
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of like rewarding independent artists and independent musicians and appreciating like real shit. Right, Austin. That's one of the things about Austin. It's like if 100% more than I think any other city in the country favors real shit.
Mm-hmm.
It favors authentic food, authentic music. It's a different kind of town.
Oh yeah. Oh definitely.
Yeah, it's a different kind of town. They're not
Yeah.
buying the normal bullshit there in bulk. It's a different spot, and I hate to say it because they'll get swarmed.
Yeah, how do you feel about like what's happened to it since it like people like found out about it?
How do I feel about
Yeah.
it? I live a few miles away.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So you're not in the belly of the beast.
Nah, you know what? But I love it. I grew up there. I was a teenager there, running those streets, and then I
Yeah.
ran into the same faces every day for 15 years. It's nice to
Yeah.
see somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for those young musicians out there who are, have to deal with the bucket and playing out there for tips, and have these people from all over the place come in, and
Right.
they can,
It almost feels
I'm
kind
there-
of
I'm there
global
Did you do
now.
that? Did you do that?
What?
Did you play with a bucket in front of you? Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
did? You were a busker?
I was a.
That's
I was
so
a,
cool.
and
Is that what it's called? That's the official term?
like in clubs, like in bars, or whatever. You hang out and you play for 4 hours.
What?
Sometimes you play
That's so
a
cool.
bunch, and then you make $6
Yeah.
between 4 people. You'd be
Damn.
God damn.
Like, you know what I mean? But yeah.
What
but
year are we talking when this was happening?
98 through 2010.
That's amazing.
Really? When did things happen
Love
for
that.
you? When did things like legitimately happen?
2010.
2010.
Yeah, I got a call up from Eric Clapton, said, "Come play my festival," and it kind of changed my whole
Holy
life.
shit.
God,
So I
Gary.
went from
Holy shit.
yeah, man. So, yeah, man, burning candles. You know what I mean? Trying to,
Eric Clapton.
So yeah, it was but I don't mind the folks coming through. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel like
Right on.
if you're intimidated that somebody's gonna come take your spot, then
Yeah.
step your fucking game up or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I kind
Cool.
of feel. But it's happening everywhere. Right? It's like the people coming in and
I like how
finding
much
out
you
about a new
share.
spot.
You're really good at your, like, I don't know, you're a generous man.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like you have this ability to, like, when you were talking about, tuning into the radio, like, you're a good listener. That's what that means, as a musician.
Well, I was a middle child, so it's never been about me.
That's perfect.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
good.
that's perfect.
That's so good.
Middle childs have a chip.
No, but I mean, like, that's a really positive way to look at rapid change, like a city like Austin that, you could say it's being inundated with just like this huge volume of people coming in and it makes your life whatever. But instead you're like, no, come on in. Like that's a good attitude. I salute that.
But it's different. I'm a little bit more comfortable now and I'm able to stay out of the madness.
Yeah.
That's a great attitude for all aspects of life. Just the idea that someone's going to take your spot, like they're not going to take your spot.
Right.
That's not what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know
Right.
what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, I know exactly.
I think
what
we're
it is.
conditioned to feel
Yeah,
that way, though, that
I
someone's
think
going to
you're
take
100%
your
right.
spot, and that's a fucked up way to live. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a
you're
weird
just
thing.
scared.
I think for a long time, people, really dealt with scarcity.
Yeah.
You look back at people that lived in like the 1920s and 30s. They weighed like 110 pounds. Like all the men, the little tiny men. Like everybody was
They
barely
didn't work.
eating.
They didn't work out.
They were barely eating.
They worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People were like hoping they didn't starve to death.
Right.
Through the 20s, like the Roaring 20s, and then the Depression. I mean, what? People starved to death. It was like a regular occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
And there's parts of the world that's happening right now.
Yeah.
We're a weird animal.
Yeah.
We really are.
Yeah.
And what we are today is just so much different than what we used to be.
Like at lightning speed.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it funny to think about like the gym and all of the intricacies? You heard me.
Politics.
Can't even talk. but no. Like to like our physicality and how we tailor our bodies and workouts, and then just what you said, like 1910, and people are weighing 110 pounds, and like they're just eating, trying to get enough money to eat, and then like we have these lifestyles of like to a science, our exercise and our diets, and it's fucking fascinating.
Yeah, we're just trying.
But also, people around the world are still living like that.
We're trying to not eat
latter.
too much.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. They're trying to stay alive. We're trying to not eat too much.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
Crazy. No, I mean, like, let's take a minute.
It's
Fuck.
so funny. But you know how hard it is to not eat? Like, it's just fucking, how is it hard to not do a thing? That doesn't even make sense. It's hard to do things.
Yeah.
It might be hard mentally to not do a thing.
Yeah.
That mental struggle is real as fuck, though, right?
Yeah. I think there's like a weird line of being like conscious of that and then feeling worthy of your own lifestyle and your own life.
That's where your weird robot overlord's helmet thing comes in place.
Yeah. Because that shit keeps me up at night.
Recharges your brain.
It does.
Fixes you, straightens you out.
Calm the fuck down,
Suzanne,
Suze.
become
Calm
one.
the fuck down.
Become one with the vibration, Suzanne.
I think I am.
There's no reason to be a rebel.
I don't know
Stay
about that.
with us. Stay with us. Stay
I don't know.
tuned. Stay tuned.
I'm ready to change some shit. The narrative. I don't know. I don't like it.
What narrative do you not like?
Music industry stuff. I think I've been working really hard to go against the grain of, like, right now I'm self-released. Like, I don't have a record company and I'm self-funded, and it's really hard. But it's also really gratifying at the same time because, right now since I left Honey Honey, like Honey Honey's kind of on ice for, sort of.
Yeah, you didn't nuke the territory. You
No.
just moved out of the building.
Yeah, well, we're figuring it out, Well said. Well said. Oh my God. But, the battle is getting ahead, and being a woman and being in my 30s and not like, no one wants to hop on board until they know it's working. Mm-hmm. Even though I made this incredible record and it's so well received, and then folks are like, yeah, well, call us when it's working, rather than like get in now.
Right.
And I don't feel discouraged by that. I feel informed. But that's also a business move, because we're taking art and turning it into commerce, and no one wants to bet on a horse that's not winning yet,
Right.
Yeah. I feel pretty good about what I'm doing. I don't think I should be doing something else, but it's still a struggle, you know. So when I said I want to change the narrative, it's sort of like I want to kind of prove to myself and others that like you can do it, like you find a way, you know, and it's really hard, but you can do it, you know, and you get help from your friends. Like, this is so cool to be here with you guys. Like, I don't know if I could really convey that enough, that this is a huge help to what I'm trying to do right now. But yeah, also this is the thing that like keeps me up at night, of being like, oh my God, this is so hard. But at the same time, you know, the music industry, I'll just speak to that right now. It's tough.
Well, it seems to me, if I, as an outsider who has no business in the music business, when I look at it, I feel like it's a big ship that had to like cut parts of itself off, and now it's a smaller ship.
Yeah.
And now it's like, whoa, it's still a pretty big ship, but it's not what it used to be. The money doesn't come in anymore in the form of record sales. So it's entrenched its tentacles deeper into the industry, into other things like merchandise and live shows and all these different things to stay alive. And maybe it helps, and maybe it doesn't. It depends entirely upon the artist. But what you're doing at your point in your life, where you're like, look, this isn't fucking working. Like, what do I need to do? Like, being attached to this group's not doing it. Being attached to that group's not doing it. What the fuck's doing it? Let me just try to not be attached to someone. Yeah. And through the internet, you have the option to put your stuff out there. Yeah. And it gets a reaction from people, like stuff like this. Yeah. And then they go, oh shit, this bitch is talented.
Well, you know, and thanks, first of all, that's sweet.
You know I love you.
I love you too. It's not like I want to like take over the world. I just want to like make a good living doing what I love. That's all I want, you know, and it's fucking hard. I know it's hard. But it's also, like you know, I want to capture that thing. I want to tune into the right radio station, and also not have to worry so much about like not having enough to get by, you know, that kind of thing. And it sounds silly, but it's not. Like that is my reality.
What is the major function of a record label? Not hating, just wondering. What's the major function of a record label when you're not really necessarily selling records?
So they
not trying to blow up anybody's business.
Well, you want to weigh in on this?
I can give a little bit.
Yeah.
They're for marketing, promotion.
Marketing.
They're the folks who help you with budgets for tour.
They're a bank.
So when it says like budgets for tour, is that because you have to lay out money in advance to set up a set and to make sure that everybody gets to the place? They have the money to get to the event and set everything up, and then they would reap some of the reward. So it's almost like an initial investment, and then based on return from ticket sales.
Right. So so like, you know, it's expensive to be out on tour.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot to be out on tour. You're paying for anything and everything, right? Yeah. You're paying to play, basically. Right. And so what they do is they come in and they'll help you with things like that, and but sometimes it doesn't work for people, you know, and that's the thing, is like people come into this thing going, oh, I made it, I've got this deal, but if your record doesn't hit or whatever doesn't hit, then they've invested all this money. So it's kind of, it puts this extra pressure on you to figure out what you need to do to make it. And I think some people go down a different route and would switch up their thing, and but they can be very helpful. You know? It depends on your attitude too. A lot of it is your attitude and what you think of, like, you know, are you being taken advantage of, or is this an investment, or is this going to pay off? Because it goes so up and down, you know, depending on.
I would imagine it would be hard to be free and creative and having a good time with it if you feel like you're being taken advantage of. It would put a dark cloud over it.
Yeah, well, there's that, and I think there's also the misconception that once you get a big record deal, and I've had a few, where you think all of a sudden, like, you have to stop doing something and they're going to do it for you. That is like the biggest mistake you could ever make. And if anything, you have to work harder and prove to them that, like, you're kind of worthy of their time and money. You know, sometimes it depends. It depends on the company. But,
I see what you're saying.
You know, essentially, like, when you sign a deal with these folks, like, they have a lot of your creative integrity in some ways, depending on the deal and how it's shaped. And, you know, they own your copyright. If they want to own your record, depending on your deal, sometimes you have more leverage than others. And, you know, if that's the case, like, fuck yeah, good for you.
But that's so weird that they own the whole thing. That they could ever own the whole thing.
Well, I
Unless you
self-released.
sell it for an exorbitant amount of money. The idea that you would own the whole song, like they would own the writing, the music, they would
Not
own
the writing.
recording.
Well, not that.
They don't own that?
Copyright and
No,
publishing
no,
are different
yeah,
things.
Okay, so you could still have someone else
So-
do that song?
So I self-released my last record, Ruby Red, and I learned a lot because I hired my own PR and distribution companies, and I really got into the nuts and bolts on how all this shit works. And I'm not sure if this has changed because sometimes this is, you know, going back and forth. But when you own your copyright, the digital return on things like Spotify and iTunes are 10-1. So when the record companies own your copyright and all of your streaming is like kicking, like just fucking taking off, they're making tons of money on
So
your
they're
streaming.
making 10 times more than you are.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. I know.
Crazy.
Wow.
Major labels now earning over $1 million per hour from streaming.
That's
Holy
fucking insane.
Shit. So they figured it out. They figured out how to get deeper into the arteries, like real close to the heart.
But the hustle is like trying to
They're in
get.
there, bro.
But they also have the keys to a lot of doors.
But this
you
is
know,
the thing.
it's like a weird trade-off.
They do, but I have a feeling if you just look at the landscape, that is less and less of an issue almost every year. They have
I don't know.
I don't know if they, as long as you don't create feuds, I don't think they necessarily have the keys to arenas. I think if you go through major agencies, that's solved. And I think distribution over the internet, just through people finding out about it and sharing it, and tossing it around, is probably as useful, if not better than anything.
Right.
Because I'll find out about it. Podcasts find out about it. People on Twitter find out about it. They retweet shit. People Instagram repost stuff, and then it hits millions and millions and millions and millions of people. 100% organic, and it happens all the time. When shit is good. I mean, it's almost like you're bankrolling on it not being a good idea if you do it with somebody else. It's like what you're doing is like bankrolling on yourself.
Yeah.
You're saying like, I believe in myself. Let's just put this out. Whereas if you do it with a label, you have to, so many people have to be, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm sure it's worked out great for both of you and on numerous occasions, but someone has to believe in you. You have to work with someone. There's a lot involved.
Well, I'm sure, like, well, first of all, there are some great companies. I don't know what, like, you know, what label you work with, but
Yeah, we're good.
yeah. See, like some of them, and obviously because you're fucking amazing and you're crushing it, and you know, like some companies that's not the case, and you know, people's jobs depend on your success, and if they're scared and they go in this way that it's not like, it doesn't hit,
yes,
or something, like they drop you fast.
yeah.
And you know, I'll speak. Oh yeah. Maybe not.
Hold it together, Suzanne. That's twice. Hold it together. Well, you remember when Prince had to change his name to a fucking symbol?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. That is the perfect
That's
example.
the perfect example.
Yes.
Imagine you are trying to keep
Yeah.
Prince.
That's just
one of
business.
the GOATs of all time.
Man, come
Yeah.
Right?
Come
I
on.
mean, of all time goats. He was androgynous before anybody knew what the fuck it was. He was dancing around with high heels. No one could say shit because it was so good. Think about all the homophobia. We were talking about transphobia,
I know.
homophobia. Think about all the shit
I
he
know.
must have endured in like 1988 or whatever the fuck it is when he put out that first album. And it didn't matter. And everybody, it was so good. Everybody
Yeah.
just had to step the fuck back. Like Purple Rain. It was the way he was dressed was ridiculous. Imagine if Ryan Reynolds was in a movie about a singer who dressed like
I can
Prince did in
imagine.
Purple Rain. It was he's so good he gave himself a handicap. He said, "I'm gonna dress like a goddamn king, and you ain't gonna say shit because my fucking music is so good." He would drive up on a motorcycle,
Yeah.
no
Oh, man.
helmet. Shut the fuck
Yeah.
up, bitch! I'm doing whatever I want. I'm Prince.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He was on another planet. Look, come on.
Oh,
that guy was
bless
on.
him.
He was on another planet. Rarely people like this exist.
Did you ever get to meet him, Gary?
Nah, I fucked up one time. I
No.
came back from tour and I got an invite. He's like, wanted me to come out the next day, and I was jet lagged and dealing with family stuff, and I was like, I can't make it tomorrow, but. So my bad. But but such a big fan. I think he's.
Yeah.
I mean,
I fucked up once. I had a chance to see him at the Hard Rock in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like when he was just starting to do music again and tour again.
Yeah.
And it was real late. It was like after midnight. I was tired.
Yeah.
I had to do some shit in the morning.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to work out. Fuck this. It's too late.
The fucking workout.
Such a meathead.
No.
You guys.
Dummy.
I don't fuck with
Gary,
Such
come
a
on.
dummy.
I think we should all work out
But so-
tomorrow. Actually, let's work out tonight. Let's drink a little more
After
whiskey.
this.
We'll hit the
Let's
gym
just
outside.
work out drunk. I've done that before.
Jamie, you in?
Ari, Bert, and I got into a fucking bench press competition drunk as fuck after a podcast.
How'd that
God,
go?
you did not.
It was crazy, yeah. I was worried I hurt something. Didn't I hurt something in my leg? I hurt like a muscle in my leg or something.
Your meniscus? No.
No, it was like my hammy. Like somewhere in my lower hammy. We had a fucking... when you get drunk, it's the bane of all existence, but it's the source of so much pleasure.
How dare you?
It is. It's both.
I'm having a great time.
It's the rocky seas. That's what whiskey and all booze in general. It's the rocky seas. It's like you have great moments, but you also have times when you're going to puke off the side.
Oh, yeah.
It's the rocky
It's been a minute.
seas.
Okay,
Yeah.
when was the last time you guys went to Pukey Town from drinking too much?
From drinking, it's been a long time, but I
Okay.
puked from stomach virus just 4 days ago.
What?
Yeah. Woo. Oh my God. In between shows at the Improv.
Jesus.
How about this? My whole family had it.
Oh,
one of my
no.
daughters, my wife had it first, then one of my daughters had it, and then I'm like, I don't get that shit, bitch. Like, I'm
And
a
you sure
fucking
did.
man.
Of course,
Oh,
right?
my God.
And then I'm in the bathroom at the Improv. I'm like, man, I do not feel good. And I'm like, I think I might puke. I had to go up in 15 minutes. I'm
no.
like, why don't I just make myself puke? And I'm like, all right, let's make myself puke. So I shoved 3 fingers down my throat,
that's
like
disgusting.
way down my throat, and I didn't puke. I'm like, God damn it. And then all of a sudden, my body was like, oh, you want to party? And I lifted up the bowl just in time for the most violent stream. Like cartoonish. Just, I mean, fucking cartoonish. Like down to the core of my lower spinal column. Like, like, whoa. Like I was worried I was going to pull muscles.
I'm crying a little bit.
I puked and I stepped up and I washed my hands and I went right back in. I puked again. So I got 2 off in between.
I did a show like that once.
And then
It's
I
the
did a
worst.
show and then I drove home. And on the way home, I was like, keep it together, bitch. Keep it together. Because on the way home, it was touch
Yeah, I was
and
going to
go.
say, wait, what car were you driving?
The Tesla. I was going nice and slow though.
Yeah.
Tesla's nice. It's a comfortable ride. So
Yeah.
very advanced
Yep.
ride. So it'll keep you away from those horrible bumps that might disturb you. And I barely got inside my house and just I mean violent. Like the most violent throw up I think I've ever had in my life. It was spectacular.
Have
But
you
it
ever
only
had a
lasted for
show
1
like that?
day.
Have you ever had a show like that?
Yeah, I've had a show like
I
that.
did
Like,
2
yeah.
shows. I did the second show that night that way too. But I made it through the second show with no problem.
That's the worst. Me and my friend, we were in Austin playing it.
Anton?
Yeah, Antone's. And we just got back from tour. It was like a holiday show, and everyone's there. And we went and got some pizza from this janky spot.
Oh, no.
And so me and my tour manager at the time, we're sitting on the bus, and we look at each other like. At the same time, no words. We both like hopped up. We're like, we just hit. We're like side by side. 5 minutes. Hey guys, you guys ready to go?
Oh.
You guys ready to go? No, man, I'm not ready. So I get up on stage. I know I'm just dragging breath in people in the front row.
Oh, no. Did you tell him?
Nah, I didn't. But it was pretty obvious
Yeah.
that
Something
I was.
wrong.
Why am I that sweaty and haven't hit a note yet? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
my
It was
God.
fucked up. But we also had a thing over in Europe. A couple of friends of mine, these guys in my band had some oysters and.
Oh, no.
So we had to fly the next, like in Europe when you're traveling, it's like
My
you
whole
can't really
family
bust
got it
It's
off
like,
the oysters once.
Oh,
my wife and one of my
God.
kids got it off.
Ah man,
Oysters, occasionally, like food poisoning is rough because did you know that when you get food poisoning on a boat, they try to quarantine you?
No.
I didn't know that either. Yeah, food poisoning apparently can spread from person to person. Never knew that until this year.
Weird. No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that either.
Someone got food poisoning on a boat and they couldn't leave the boat. Find out if that's true. I'm pretty sure it is.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty because we were trying to figure out
Oh, the oyster thing's tough.
how it spreads. But then my wife was like, I think that shit is actually contagious. Like if you're on a boat.
Because it's a bacteria, essentially, right?
Exactly.
But
exactly.
you could say the
can
same
get it on your
about
hands. You can get it on other things.
yeah.
People
right,
can touch those things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
And they want to make people are dirty bitches. They don't want people coughing in their hands and touching things. Then everybody gets food poisoning. Like it literally can happen that way.
My last Honey show. That was it was Puke City.
Ugh.
I don't know what it was. It started in the middle of the night before the show, and it was a pretty big paying gig that for us that we couldn't turn down, and they had a bucket for me backstage in case I needed to ditch.
Does it affect your vocals?
Yeah, it affected everything. It was, well, first of all,
I would imagine it affect the noises.
I'll be honest. You know what happened? Ben graciously let the crowd know, hey, Susie's not feeling so well, everybody. Just want you to know we're going to give you the best show we can, but give her some love. And I could feel it. I could feel their support. And I whether it was adrenaline or what, and I basically played in my pajamas. I didn't do anything to my face. I didn't wear any. I was wearing I just went out there and I was like I was dead. I was lying on the couch, and they're like, we got to go, and I'm like, okay. And
Wow.
it was a really intense show, but also in a kind of beautiful way. It was our last scheduled show together.
Oh, wow.
And Ben and I were crying and stuff, and we had this whole thing, but the crowd really held me up. They really did. I didn't puke during the show, ironically, but I was sick for days after that, and then I flew to Dublin the next day to join the Hosier band. So it was a weird mind fuck. I don't know. A part of me wonders if it was some weird mental thing, because no one else got sick. But I was really sick.
I doubt it was a mental thing, but I bet
I'd like to doubt that.
I bet it was a mental thing though that crowd raised you.
Yeah,
there's a
that
real
was
thing
intense.
to that,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. They talk about one of the worst things that happens to people in terms of illness and disease is loneliness. One of the worst things. There's something about people that are lonely and sad. It's one of the worst things in terms of indicators of overall health.
Right.
You just don't have a reason to go. You feel
Sure.
real bad, and people get real sick. It's real bad for your immune system.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when people love you and you go out there and they know you're sick and they love you and they send you, it sounds hippie and woo woo, but there's a feeling that
No
you get
way,
from
that's
that.
not hippie at all. I believe in that.
It's a similar feeling to that feeling that you get when Kickstart My Heart comes on and you're on the fucking elliptical machine and you're like, whoa!
Keeps coming back.
Kickstart My Heart, don't you never stop. Baby!
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God.
That shit's real
It
energy.
is. It's the truth. Honestly, it's
real fuel.
I 100% concur with you.
Hunter
I
S.
think-
Thompson had a great quote about music being fuel.
Yeah.
That he looked at it like fuel. What is that fucking quote? See
Oh
if
my
you can
God,
find that
music
quote.
saved my life.
Me too.
My
Absolutely.
sadness, my joy, all of
Yes.
it. My
It's-
inspiration.
It changes how you feel.
Yeah.
You hear a great song and it changes. It's a fucking drug. It's just
Yeah.
like a drug. It changes how you feel. Music has always been a matter of energy to me, a question of fuel. Sentimental people call it inspiration, but what they really mean is fuel. I have always needed fuel. I am a serious consumer. On some nights, I still believe that a car with gas needle on empty can run about 50 more miles if you have the right music very loud on the radio.
That's cool.
Fuck.
Agreed.
Forgot the. Would have been
Agreed.
perfect. I fucked up the.
But
Oh, well.
music as a
Right?
writer and as a listener has saved my life.
Well, it's
you know?
made people do more work. Music changes the way. First of all, how many people at their job, they have some bullshit ass fucking job, but music gets them through, warehouse workers,
Sure.
people that are doing shit, but they can hear music in the background. Music gets them through. They're like, oh shit, not this one. And they yell it out to their friends and everybody's having a good time while they're working. I mean, that's just a fact, right? It's every bullshit job. If you can listen to music at a bullshit job.
It's empowering.
Oh, it makes that job way better.
Yeah.
Every construction gig, they suck when the fucking foreman comes over and says, no music, guys.
Yeah.
Like, what? No music?
What is television or movies without music?
Oh my God, dog shit.
There's
few
a
good ones.
whole bunch of dead space, but you also have that sort of music score to your life.
Yes.
You have those moments in your life where you're going through a breakup or you're going through whatever, or you're empowered and you throw on some Run the Jewels. That's my...
Yes. Shout out to Killer Mike.
Yeah, for real.
Have you had Killer Mike on here?
Yes, I have.
God
yeah.
damn,
So-
love
I was just
him
texting
so
him the other
much.
day.
Get out of
He
here.
had this, he's crazy fucking speech at the Bernie Sanders rally.
Get
God
out of
damn.
here.
Like one of them goosebumpy speeches. Like, woo! Everybody
When I
better
listen
be
to Run the Jewels, I
real
get
hopeful.
goosebumps. I get like a physical reaction to their music. It's so powerful. And Killer Mike.
If that
you
dude
know,
wants to
both.
run for president, if Killer Mike ever runs for president,
Yeah, I'm game.
everybody better be real hopeful. Real hopeful.
Shit's gonna
He
get
just
fun
enjoys
real
his rap
fast.
career. Be real hopeful. He keeps doing what he's doing. Because if that guy runs for president, he's gonna woo.
Oh my
That's
God.
a powerful human being.
Yes.
I got
Yeah.
a lot of
He's a
respect, man.
powerful orator, like a fucking new age preacher. When he was doing it, that Bernie, I texted him, I'm like, dude, that's some serious shit. Like he
Yeah.
was spitting flames. Just whoa.
Yeah.
Whoo.
He's a brilliant man, too.
There's something about people that can do that, right? That can have those fucking giant speeches. And that's one of the reasons why Trump is successful, is his ability to stand in front of large groups of people and get big reactions.
But he says dumb shit.
He does, but it's all in who's your audience, It's all in like who's there and what else have they heard that night, right? That might be the most fun shit they've heard that night. It's like if you're a bad comic, what a lot of bad comics do? They have terrible comedians open for them, so they have just like the audience is just in a coma by the time they get up. In a sense, that's what Trump is. Trump's a comic who's had nothing but shitty comics on before him. So all of the politicians before him, even the most interesting ones, are really boring to listen and talk to for long periods of time. But Trump goes up there and makes fun of Mike Bloomberg's hype by ducking under the fucking table, and he calls Hillary crazy Hillary, lying Hillary, and Sleepy Joe Biden. He makes jokes about them. I'm not justifying what he does, but the reason why he can even do what he does is because everybody besides him, when it comes to communicating, is so goddamn boring.
Yeah.
The way they get their message is so fucking boring.
Yeah.
Jesus, I get it. You want to help. You're fucking killing me. You're so annoying with the thumb thing. You're full of shit. If you were talking like that in my house, I'd be like, who the fuck are you, man? Who are you? Why are you lying about your past? Why are you pretending about this? You're lying. You're
Well,
wearing a mask.
it's a weird sleight of hand,
Thumb thing.
Yeah, the thumb thing. They're wearing a mask. But Killer Mike, there's no mask.
No.
He's guns blazing.
Oh yeah.
That kind of person is the future
He's a
of
powerful
politics.
man.
That's what's going to happen.
But back to the Trump
That's what
thing.
Trump did, though.
Trump,
He threw in monkey wrenches
It's a
to the
sleight of
gears.
hand. It's like a magic trick.
But so is everyone else. That's the problem. The problem with saying that is so is Ted Cruz. Everyone saw the videos where Ted Cruz with his family, pretending to have like a real moment with his family.
On the
like,
beach?
Cut.
Is that the one?
This is fucked up. It's in the living room. They're like, Mom, you got to be more
my bad.
sincere. Like it's like weird, like sculpted, fake scripted reality. Trump is the antidote to that. That's the problem. They're all crazy too. That might be a worse kind of crazy.
It's a broken system.
But who wants to do it? That's the problem.
Joe,
No.
I think it's time
I'm
for
not
you
interested.
to run
I'm not
for
interested in
president.
anything. I'm interested in doing less than I'm doing already.
you are leading us all,
I'm
sir.
not leading shit.
No chance.
All
The
I'm saying
thumb
is like,
thing.
this is nonsense. These people that do this, they're nonsense people.
I
They're
wouldn't
doing.
go for you.
They're tricking. It's like someone made a good description of it. I think it was Kyle Kalinske. That's exactly what it was. He was saying it's exactly like there was a bunch of crappy comedians that were imitating the cadence of Dave Attell. Dave Attell would talk like this.
Yeah,
But it was
right,
always
right.
funny. And he always had these brilliant punchlines, and he inspired a whole gigantic slew of people that have imitated this Dave Attell cadence. Most of it is harmless, and they're just fans, and they wanted to be like him. They might not even realize they're doing it, and they eventually would find their own voice. And that happens, I'm sure, with musicians. It happens probably with everybody in art, in everything, right? But the problem is, it's like, just doing something like that is I can't listen. You can't run the world if you're doing a character. If you're doing this, because if you're trying to make it as a comic
Right.
and you're pretending you're David Attell, fine. But if you want to run the fucking free world and you're doing the Obama thing and you're talking like this and you're talking the exact cadence, exactly the way old Barack Obama used to talk, like fuck you, man. That's not you. Who are you, bitch? Who are you? At least we know who Trump is. He
Yeah.
might be crazy. It might be madness. It might
I
be
think he's
chaos.
crazy.
It might be. You're right. Guess what? They all are. The whole thing's crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be president.
Yeah.
Almost everyone,
Yeah.
except a couple of them.
You know what I'd like?
What?
It's madness. Who the fuck wants to run this thing? Crazy people.
I think it'd be cool if, dude, man, let me tell you,
Bro,
I think
I
it'd be
think
cool,
it'd be cool.
bro. No, honestly though, if the Democrats like teamed up
With who?
each other,
Space aliens? Oh, I think they are doing that right now to try to
but
get
in
rid
the
of Bernie
like,
Sanders.
you're, head of national security, you're president, you're vice president, you're, like in this way that I think they all have strengths. It's tough to feel like one of them has it all, and essentially that's the case with most people. But if they, I don't know.
I know the Democrats
I
probably
hate talking
mean
about
well.
politics because
I do
people
too.
give me so much shit about it, and well, fuck them. I don't care. I think that like it's a really scary time, and Trump is terrifying.
Everybody's terrifying.
Yeah, but
All of
his blatant.
I'm going to pee. I have to. I'm holding it together. That's why I'm so anxious right now.
Go
Gary
pee.
Clark wins this one.
You know what
He
you
did
should do?
not
You
leave
should
and
go pee.
You didn't leave and pee yet, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay, why don't we pee? Let's play a song, and then
but let me
we don't
come
have
back.
to play any more songs.
Yeah, but let me come back. You guys talk amongst each other. I'm good. I'm quick. I'm
Gary,
like a
don't you have
20-second
to pee
peer.
too?
No.
Wow,
That's impressive.
that's it. I feel like I have to pee again, and I've already peed once. He's running
No, but
in his sport shorts. Did you see the calves on that man? Like, wow.
Yeah, man. Make me feel bad about myself and shit. I've been sitting around eating.
Come on
donuts.
now. Have
No,
I
but,
told you how much my mom talks about how good looking you are?
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said it literally today.
I love her.
And I said, Mom, Gary's married to a beautiful supermodel, and he's about to, well, now you've had your third baby.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, your mom's sweet.
she is. She's great.
I wish more people thought like her.
Get out of
Make
here.
me feel better in the morning when I wake up and I just look at this face. I'm like, fuck.
Get out of here, Gary.
I'm just kidding. I love my life. It's all good.
Thank God. Yeah, it's a
all
good
good.
life. Hey,
No,
cheers.
that's very sweet.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Wow, how about it? We're running the Joe Rogan podcast without Joe Rogan.
I don't know. How that
Jamie?
Not many people have gotten to do that.
Oh my
Wow.
God. Okay, what should we talk about? Joe.
feels. Yeah, right?
What a legend.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
With his space suit and his, his antlers. And is there taxidermy in this room?
I mean,
Yeah, antlers.
Yeah, not like
Not
Yeah,
really.
copy that. No, it's a special place. I feel like we're in a bomb shelter of party town. Like we're safe here and we're going to have a good time and we could stay here for a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if this was where I had it.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how can we model our lives like it's like WWJD?
Look.
What would Joe do? Okay, let's take notes. Okay.
Start writing this shit down.
Okay. 1, sauna.
Sauna. Need.
sensor deprivation tank.
2, what, really?
Yeah, you ever
Son
seen
of a
that?
bitch. No, but Joe ironically sent Ben Jaffe and I from Honey Honey to a sensory deprivation tank in Venice Beach. And it was going well until I got to that point where I like panicked a little bit. Oh, Joe, we were doing so good without you. I literally wrote down sauna.
Oh my God, I'm so thankful.
I was just telling the story of when you sent Ben and I to the sensory deprivation tank, the float tank in Venice, and with Crash.
Crash, my man.
Yeah, and I kind of went in, and Crash was basically like, look, I'm going to lock the doors, and you guys are like in here, do your thing. And so I was in the tank, and I got to this point where I like started to panic. And I thought, I was just trying to sort of go somewhere, and then I was like, what if Crash didn't open the air vents, and I'm gonna suffocate? And I started to like go for the door,
Whoa.
and then I got it in my eye, and I was like, because it's salt water.
Were you high?
No,
Really?
I wasn't high. Maybe I'm not sure, but I
Sounds high to me.
really hit a wall. And I was, and you're like
Maybe
naked,
makes me
and then
suspicious.
and I ended up like going. I had to like jump out and go to the shower, and I was like, getting my eyes
Oh my
all
God.
rinsed out, and I kind of sat there in a towel, like,
That's so ridiculous.
I failed my first float tank.
You never get. There's vents there. There's air, plenty of air. They have
But
it set up.
But I will
Crash
say,
got it all thought
I went
through.
to a cryotherapy in Austin one of the last times I was there, and I loved it.
It's great, right? You feel
Well,
awesome.
I didn't last the 3 minutes. I did like 2:30 before I started to panic.
I think they're supposed to make you do 2 the first time.
I did 2:30.
That's you're a rebel.
Suck my dick.
Whoa! That might be the funniest thing I've ever heard.
That's gonna come back to haunt me. Well, I. I had a sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
Who was the first woman to say "suck my dick"? Was it
I would
Jane
hope-
Fonda?
Oh,
no, not
really?
Jane Fonda.
I was gonna say I would hope it's like Sarah
Jane.
Silverman. Oh, G.I.
Demi
Jane.
Moore.
Oh,
Demi
yeah.
Moore and G.I. Jane, right?
know.
Remember? She was a Navy SEAL. She's like, "Suck my dick," and everyone's
Wow.
like, "Damn."
I love it though. I think it's incredible. It's like, whoa. All right.
That was the best a woman has ever said, "Suck my dick." Now you're the queen.
Wow,
you
Joe,
took that
I
spot.
cannot.
You took that spot.
That is a great
You
honor,
took that
sir.
spot. You took that spot because I believe in you. She
Well,
was just reading lines in the movie.
I hate to say this. Back in the honey days, and I did have a nickname, and it was "Suck My Dick Suze" because I would say it a little too often. It's like a reflex.
But it's a cool thing that a girl can say even though she doesn't have a dick, and everybody thinks it's hilarious. Like no one gets offended. If
it's good.
if a girl's like, "Suck my
I don't want to
dick,"
offend anybody.
Like if you're offended, if you're a guy, you're like, "That is outrageous." Like you're off the team.
Dare you?
Yeah, what guy would be offended by
Yeah.
a woman like you saying "suck my dick"? We would think.
No. And this is
that's
where
a
I get
good-
the "me too" from you guys.
from us. Impossible. But that would be like a good indicator of like douchebaggishness.
Sure.
Someone was upset of you saying "suck my dick." Like, who are you? Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
here?
well, that's the climate we're in, which is kind of scary.
But I don't think that way though. It's not that way because that would require men to be upset at a woman for saying something like "suck my dick." That
Yeah.
hasn't gotten that crazy yet.
I hope not.
The only way it could ever is
We're not going there.
retaliatory. I don't think so either.
Yeah, we're
but
not
there's a
going
lot of bitches amongst us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bitches amongst us. It could go bad. We could hit the rocks and then have to bounce back.
You know what we need? But we need to conquer those inner bitches.
There's
and,
a lot of people that are just not capable of getting up. They can't.
Yeah.
There's going to be no movement.
agreed.
Boom, they're going to hit that wall. There's some guys. Look, there's for sure a lot of men who would try to claim that way, in that direction.
Well, let's hope that's not the case with this podcast. All of a sudden,
I was like, "Suck my dick, you fucking bitch!" Mad at you. Appropriating a penis is a fucking horrendous injustice. You appropriated a penis.
I'm pretty
How
sure
about
I said that at one of my last poker games.
Appropriated a penis.
I'm pretty sure I said that at one of the last poker games I played, and nobody laughed. So I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
okay."
well, you're fucking playing poker with a bunch of serious normies.
No.
They're a bunch of normies that can't handle it.
It's okay.
How about?
How much money did you take from?
It wasn't.
Oh, she's a hustler. She's a hustler.
I don't want to. Yeah,
This is
I
bullshit.
mean,
She's trying not to fuck up her game right now. I see what's going on.
All right, moving on.
no, yeah. I did okay.
I've always wanted to be good at chess. That would be a thing that would be like cool to tell people. Like, yeah, I'm really good at chess.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess so.
be a thing. If someone,
I guess so.
if anybody
But
that I've
also,
ever met
Joe,
that is,
like you're really good at a lot of other things. So
yeah,
it's
but
like,
chess is one of them ones that's like universally respected, right? You meet a dude who can play some chess, like, oh, okay.
Gary, how's your chess game?
Terrible, non-existent. What is what?
Now, checkers, on the other hand.
He'll fuck you up.
Yeah, fuck
He'll
you
take
up.
your
Yeah.
soul in
Checkers.
checkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, flip it up on its side, beat you all day in Foursquare. That's about it.
Oh my God.
There's only so many games, and there's only so many
I love games.
hours in a day. That's the problem.
I recently, this is so silly. My dear landlord / friend invited me downstairs to play this game that was created by the Rich Dad Poor Dad author.
Oh.
And
A
I
game
can't.
created by the author of that book?
Yeah, and I can't remember. I don't know what it's called, but it
Was it called Suck My Dick?
it's called Suck My Dick, bitch. And it's a financial game. It's like an adult Monopoly.
Oh, okay. Adult
And you
Monopoly.
get
I
out
thought
of the-
Monopoly was an adult
You get out
game.
of the rat race.
I'm always scared when I play Monopoly.
You get out of the rat race, and then you go to the like big dogs, and it's very enlightening because you're kind of like buying property and then you're like making deals, and there's something about it that did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No.
It's interesting. It's an interesting way to approach your relationship with money if you've ever struggled with it or weren't sort of given a crash course on how to handle it or not handle it.
Like, what did you get out of it?
I got that like the power that money can have over you is something to reconcile with, you know, in a way that you can live a healthier life and, you know, not obviously in a consumerist society, like you kind of have this constant, like, I need, you know, all that stuff. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad, first of all, I read half the book. I didn't read the whole book, so I can't really like speak on the entirety of it, but it gave me a different level of confidence that money was taking from me. You know, like the work as an artist, like I chose the life to be a musician. I could have lived in Cleveland and sold spaghetti and had a comfortable life, but I didn't do that. And because my family has they have a great restaurant. That ship has sailed because it's like out of my immediate family's hands. But at the time, I've had many, many moments in my life where I was like, should I move home and just like ditch this music thing because that would be so much easier. Mm-hmm. And money's been like this, you know, you kind of have, I've had a roller coaster, and it can like rule my sleep and rule my happiness and my anxiety. But when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then in conjunction with this board game I played with Russell, it really, it's so funny. It seems, you know what? It seems like part of the whole illusion of reality, and obviously you need money to survive, but the stock that we put into it is pretty incredible, you know, and like the things that we think that we need in order to like
satisfy us.
Yes. And I feel like there's this weird mind game I'm always playing with it.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like getting to the next level in my music career, like it's going to take this much. How are you going to get it? You know, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think when you sort of release your white knuckles on the thing, it all works itself out. I know that sounds pretty, you know, broad, but
I think of money as something that's entangled into life. Like there's great aspects to what you can do with your money, but it's entangled into your life in a weird way. There's what you currently can do, right? Based on your circumstances, based on your life, your health, your responsibilities. There's what you can do, and there's what's humanly possible for you to do. Mm-hmm. And when you see people that are making a lot of money, and you see that money starts to get you thinking that that's what you should do. Yeah. You should do that money thing, whatever that money is. No. I used to make less money. Now I make more money, and that makes more money than even I make. I got to do what that is to get more money. But then you do that, you realize, oh, but this isn't fun. Yeah. Now most of my day is spent doing something that's not enjoyable. Mm-hmm. That's not what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So then it's what you want to do, what you can do, what's possible, and what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And they don't always go together. Sometimes what you can do is like you have too much responsibilities, and you're always going to feel short-sighted by life because it's random and it's crazy and it's chaos. But the money thing can trick you. Like if you have a certain amount of money in the bank, like Brian Callen said it best to me. He's like, once you go to a restaurant and you don't worry about what food costs, he goes, everything else is bullshit. I was like, dude, you're right. Yeah, because that's when you're free, right? When you know your rent is paid, you know your gas is paid, your car payment's paid. You're not worried about it at all. You can just go eat. Let's go eat. You don't care. You leave a nice fat tip. Thank you. Good night. Bye. That's when you're rich. Right. Everything other than that is like, what are you doing? Like you just trying to score points because that's what we're doing. We're trying to get the high score. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to get the high score. That high score. Like you're in there fucking playing Centipede all day. Like you
What's
can't.
Centipede?
I never thought about it like
old school arcade game. They used to come down like this. You'd shoot at them.
That game is shit.
It's Pong era. Like just past Pong. It's super old school dork shit.
That's funny.
But that's what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Yeah, the minute you stop obsessing about it, it stops becoming a problem.
Yeah.
In some ways. I mean, it depends on your situation, but yeah, for me, it feels like this weird, like, spiritual grapple. I'm just like once I chill out, all the things start.
Yes, always, because you're more relaxed. If you're more relaxed, you're better. If you're better, you attract people that want to do stuff with you.
Yeah.
Like desperate people
Yeah.
or anxious people, or the worst is angry people. People that are angry that they've been fucked over by the system somehow or another.
I'm not angry. I will say that. And I feel really grateful for that. Like, with how hard I work in, like, trying to get the things that I really want, I don't feel jaded or you know, cynical about it. I feel really excited.
It's going
But
to
I'm
be
a little
really
tired
romantic
at the same
once you make
time.
it. When you become gigantic, it's going to be really romantic.
That'd be
These
nice.
times you're going to look back on.
Me and Brad Pitt.
Just fucking banging it out with Brad Pitt, doing the best music you can do. Just hoping for the
Don't I
future
know
to be
it.
bright.
Yeah.
There's something about these days, though. Like,
Yeah.
you almost have to appreciate them, because when they're
I do.
gone, they are gone forever.
Yeah.
They're gone forever.
I think about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I do believe, like, I know that I won't feel like I do now with the, like, the struggle, you know, whatever. But I also think, like, you know, maybe this is, I did not read The Secret or watch The Secret. However, I've had 2 guys I broke up with give me The Secret as a book.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Like,
You're dating fruitcakes.
I guess. Don't I fucking know it?
You need a lumberjack from Montana.
Yeah,
Some
don't-
dude who's an arborist.
Please.
Climbing trees.
But,
That's what
like,
need.
you have to be funny and kind and
Yeah,
get your
there's
shit
plenty
together.
of those. You got to go to Bozeman.
I love Bozeman.
That's what I'm talking
One of my
about.
favorite poker tables is in Bozeman.
Oh my God, she is a hustler. Gary, stay the fuck away from her. Do not have a wad of pocket
It's-
money
when
and
I
go
go-
to visit this lady.
There's this bar there that has like a 6-seat table, and I probably go in once a year, and I love it. And I don't know if the dealer's name is Spencer, and I'll walk in at the last few years, and I love it. It makes me feel so cool. He goes, honey, every time I walk in. And you can play off of $40 for 6 hours and have a blast. It's fun.
Damn.
It's just fun.
She's a hustler.
I don't know.
Play games with us. Oh, just yuck. Having
not
a
a-
good times. Oh,
I'm
shucks.
not- I don't know.
Yuck,
I
yuck,
just
yuck,
like to.
yuck, yuck.
I like to play cards. I like
Yeah.
to have fun.
It's fun. Games are
good.
fun for people.
They are fun.
You know, have you ever done any of those VR Quest things where you put on a VR helmet and go into a fucking warehouse and
Once, yeah.
fight gargoyles and shit?
No, I was dancing. I was in
Oh.
a VR dance like with this robot with John Spiker. John Spiker had a VR helmet, and I was with him and his wife in Lake Arrowhead, and we were drunk and having fun. And then I was dancing with a robot, and then I got dizzy. I got pretty dizzy. I mean, I had a few.
You're not
I
really
had a-
sure the ground is real.
It's weird.
It's weird.
The thought of it is disconcerting because you're like, it's so the sound, the visual, the actual like depth of space. You know,
Yeah.
you're like in a real setting, and then you come out and you're like, this isn't as fun as that, and that's fucking weird. Like, that's scary. That's where we're at.
Oh yeah, that's where the future is. Because right now it's still pretty crude. You can still definitely tell it's not real life. But
Yeah.
how long is that going to last? They're so Duncan. Speaking of Duncan, had the very
Love the guy.
first HTC Vive, which was one of the very first consumer virtual reality headsets you could buy, and he was like an early adopter. So when they were first going through it, you'd put his helmet on. It was attached to a PC via all these cables, and you couldn't move very far. You had a very small area you could move in, and everything was really, really, really pixelated. Like, in no way did it look real. It looked more like some sort of an old school video game, right?
Okay.
But then I came back and I did this
Nintendo.
podcast again 2 years later, and I tried the new one. And the new one was way better. I was like, whoa. And the new one, I was at the bottom of the ocean. A whale swam by, and I looked right in the whale's eyeballs. I was like, holy fuck, dude. And he's like, bro, you should see the porn.
That's what Duncan sounds like.
And I was like, no, they don't. He goes, yes, they do.
Yeah.
And there was quite a few things you could do. There's one archery game. It was amazing. It was like almost like South Park style characters were bouncing towards you, and they would try to kill you, and then you would shoot at them like Roman times, like barbarians were attacking your castle, and you'd be on this castle with a bow and arrow, and you'd be shooting at these like South Park looking shapes, but it was fucking crazy.
Did you kill Kenny?
I killed all the Kennys, but the problem is you're so tired because your arms are just doing this for minutes and minutes, and you're exhausted. My shoulders were tired.
Yeah.
Like everything was tired.
Yeah.
Like
Don't they have VR workouts like you do?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you're like, training with Olympians
There's
and
some
stuff?
great boxing games that make you super nervous. You feel like you're boxing someone. You got headgear on, and this big Russian dude with a fucking cross on his chest is coming towards you and throwing punches at you. It's nuts. They're cartoon looking, but they look like Mike Tyson Punch-Out type characters. They're cartoon looking.
Can you feel?
No, but you see white when they hit you, like. Phew.
Oh, that's weird. That's disorienting.
Yeah, it's like it would feel like if you eventually.
Do you ever feel like the more
that is now? I was gonna say I was reading about one just yesterday that's opened up. I think it's called Dreamscape, and they have like an animal thing, and like you have sensors on your hand, and like the kids are saying like it felt like I was touching the animals.
Yeah, dude, I did that. That's Dreamscape. They have it in Century City, but the difference between that is it's not like a fight with a thing. Like the boxing one, it's a real workout.
Yeah.
The Dreamscape one's just fun. Like they have one that's an alien zoo, and there's like a thing. This alien comes towards you, and you put your hand on its head. They have like a little, they have a guy working there, and he's got a little foam rubber thing, and he puts right where the head should be, and you touch it, but you really feel like you might be touching this alien's fucking head.
I mean, I will say, I feel like there was like a little piece of my humanity that was lost when I was in a VR situation where I came back and I'm like I lost time or something.
Yeah. What you said is best is that it's more fun sometimes than regular life, and it's crude.
Yeah.
When it's complicated.
Yeah.
This is the argument for simulation theory. The argument for simulation theory is we know it's coming. Mm-hmm. One day, if you go back to like the Model T.
You don't think it's already here?
It might be. I don't know. But if you go back to like the Model T and then look at like a modern, brand new BMW, like the amount of technology involved in the shift is so radical and so crazy, and not that long, like 100 years or so. Imagine what it's going to be like 100 years from now, because things are just speeding up so fast.
Well, we're still going to be alive, apparently.
Probably, according to this dude, Aubrey de Grey. So the stuff that we're seeing now in terms of virtual reality, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's some freaky shit.
You're going to be able to stay home and do concerts, though.
That's the goal.
We could already do that, though. That shit's already available.
Yeah, but I mean, have it be fully immersive, like someone's on stage with you.
Oh,
like someone,
gosh.
That Jameson event.
You
like
can never replace a live show.
I don't know if you're right.
I do. I
don't know if you're right. I think you're right. But I don't know if you're right. And I think we're limited to what we understand people are capable of right now. I think
until our actual like resources collapse and you can't go outside and you have to live in a bubble, nothing can replace a live music show or a live comedy show like when you're right there.
I think you're right for now.
Until the VR gives you the like breath, the wind on your face, and the fucking heat from the pyrotechnics or whatever. By the way, I was at the Grammys when you played, and the pyrotechnics were. I was like, ah! There was fire on
Suzanne,
stage.
I don't think they're very far away from being able to transmit a more immersive experience than being there live.
Man, call me a purist.
Me too.
That fucking sucks.
It does suck.
That sucks.
It sucks. You're gonna get a bunch of people that are just glued
Here's
to
a
that
question.
machine.
I can't. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you first.
No, go ahead.
No,
Here's
please.
the question is, don't forget your thought. That's not the question. That was a request.
I
The
just
question
remember you
is,
said, I can't.
I can't believe that you could replace. Check me out here.
Give me that class.
Yeah, thanks, friend. The energy that you get from a live performance with virtual reality. I can't believe or subscribe to that thought that it is going to be manufactured digitally.
Okay.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Like you can get
I see
all
what
the
you're saying.
effects of the sensory stuff with the sound and the visual, and maybe even have machinery that gives you physical, like air or heat or cold or whatever would, simulate that thing. But I can't at the core of my being, think that you could substitute the energy that you feel when you connect with a room full of people. Cheers, love you guys. This is so much fun. Salute. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. I completely agree with you, but I don't.
Okay.
I saw Tupac live at Coachella.
Me
Did
too.
you see how weird was that?
That was the year
He was so jacked.
You
It's like
scared me.
Tupac's been doing CrossFit, right? Tupac was super jacked.
But was that the same thing?
No, but no, it's not the same thing. But I'm kind of in the middle. Like, yeah, I feel like you gotta.
This is what I think. I really think this. Like right now, you're right. Right now, you can't be at a show where you're on stage live and get that same exact experience if you were at home on a computer or
Right.
with a VR goggle. I feel like right now, yes. But in the future, they might be able to get to the point where it's better to do it through VR because I'm standing right next to you while you're singing on stage.
Last
Please.
thought. The intimacy of the crowd experience, where
You're
you
right.
can look to your neighbors and be like, fuck yes.
You're so right. But you know what
can't
replaces
simulate that.
One way. You can't
What?
simulate that. Incels that finally find an online community, and when they meet
God
in
damn
virtual
it.
reality, not only is it more satisfying than real life has ever been for them, it's the only way.
Nothing's better than real
They
intimacy.
don't have that. It's not happening.
I don't know,
but this
man.
might be the only way where they can recreate some sense of community through digital entanglement. Like through these
Nothing's
VR
better than,
goggles where they're
like,
all together in a room together.
Real sexual entanglement.
You're so right, but for
They
some people
can't
that's not
digitize
possible.
that.
Yeah, but
Unless you feel like fucking Gary
I'm
Coleman,
angry.
right? Like some people are not going to catch. They're not going to catch the right break. They don't have a good hand of cards.
Gary, help me.
I can't. You know what I'm saying? We would love it. Everybody to get
Is
fucking
this where
four
we're headed,
aces.
folks? Is this it?
I don't.
This is our
I don't
peak.
think this is the worst thing that could ever happen to us. I think this is just a problem and a puzzle. I think the way we handle these problems and puzzles is what's going to define our future. That's what I think. And then I think there's a lot of old school people with old school ideas that are trying to keep things running the same way they were when there's no internet and no accountability.
I think there's a healthy level of evolving and
Yeah.
integrating and also not going full throttle robot.
There's all these things,
You
but
know?
there's so many things happening at the same time that can affect your life forever. That you can't pay attention to all of them. And that includes industrial waste and
Yeah.
chemicals and fucking life and sucking all the tuna out of the ocean. And
So where's the bunker?
that's a good question.
Where's the party bunker?
There's a lot of questions, right? Like, how does this play out? Do we fucking figure this thing out before the canoe gets to the waterfall?
Well, in all transparency, though, like when it comes down to it, like the end, I'm not afraid to die.
Whoa, this bitch is crazy.
I'm not. I'm really not. Like
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to suffer and like burn in like nuclear waste and be like in that aftermath. I really don't want that. But when it's like if it's lights out, I'm pretty spiritual, so I'm sort of curious of like
What's next?
yeah. And then
Yeah.
if there's nothing, then like what the fuck do I care?
Yeah, it is really, right? Like, this is what I've always said. Everyone wants to go to sleep, but everyone's scared to die. Right? Everyone's looking forward to sleep. Like, oh, I can't wait to shut off and hope I come back. Look, I want to just be vulnerable for 8 hours. Sounds good. See ya.
God, but first of all, as someone who's been deprived of sleep, I love it.
Well,
But-
you're giving it to the robot overlords to remap your brain.
I actually don't know who's speaking to you right now. It's somebody else.
Some pilot in the back of your brain. Tell
Joe
them you've
Rogan.
never been happier, Suzanne.
Gary Clark Jr.
Suzanne, shut the pod bay door. It's a matter of time before we integrate with whatever the fuck is the future. It's a matter of time. We're hanging on. We're heirloom people. We're like the last group of people. I mean, I'm the oldest of all of us. So I'm 52, which means when I was a kid, no one even
He's in the
thought of the
best
internet.
shape of all of us, though. Like,
Oh, no.
like you're
I'm hanging
52,
in there. I
but
have
you're
ideas.
like you're.
I'm going right into my house and be like, babe, I gotta get my shit together.
Oh Oh my God, I want to see that look on your face when you say those words.
Oh yeah, like you did the same time last year. Oh. Great. I'll be taking care of these children. Fuck yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Man,
What is that? What's that quote?
That's
There's a quote.
funny.
Inspiration is like bathing. It's effective, but it must be done daily. Is that it? That's the quote? There's a quote like that. I forget who said it.
Inspiration is like bathing.
Yeah. It's like it's effective, but it must be done daily
I can hang
for
with
it to
that.
really work. Yeah.
Inspire
I
yourself.
brutally and really unpoetically paraphrase that.
Do you know how I like back to like having the blues, having like depression and stuff?
Is that Bertrand Russell?
First thing that popped up is Zig Ziglar. So it has also changed a little bit. I've seen 10 variations of inspiration, like a shower, you need it daily. Inspiration for
Damn.
bathing, blah, blah.
Jamie is so on it.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's the GOAT.
I know. I love that guy.
Yeah.
But back to like per inspiring yourself, man. Whenever I've been like really in it in my like head and down, if I just read a book,
Just something that takes your brain away from what you're concentrating on
where
currently.
I just like you develop
Yeah.
a new story or inspiration or like even just like jargon. You're getting new words. There's something about it that's really empowering.
You know, I watched a movie again real recently that I haven't seen in quite a long time. It's called
Jurassic Park.
No, I've seen that like 80 times.
Sorry.
It's called Happy People. Life
Okay.
on the Taiga. It's
Okay.
a Werner Herzog documentary.
Yeah.
It's a great documentary about these really, really, really fucking happy people. And they live in Siberia. And there's 300 of them in this town. And some of them are trappers, and some of them are hunters, and some
Okay.
of them go out and pick pine nuts, and they grind them in this old-fashioned wood machine. They have dogs everywhere. They live on the base of this river, and they scratch and claw and get by every year. They know what to do. They work every fucking day. They get up. They run nets through the ice in order to catch pike.
Are
and they
these
stay
where the
alive.
kids have like hawks on their hands and like eagles?
No.
Okay,
Those- I
sorry.
think you're thinking of Mongols.
Fuck.
But these people live in this really, really, really inhospitable, cold as fuck area
Yeah,
where it's
okay.
only the river's only thawed for like 2 or 3 months out of the whole year.
Great,
The river, the fucking river. It's a great documentary, but I
wanna
watched
watch
it
it.
again.
Okay.
And the thing about it is Werner Herzog.
Simplicity.
Werner Herzog is one of my favorite documentarians because he's so passionate about fascinating things, whether it's this or Grizzly Man or the one about the cave paintings in France. There's this amazing documentary about these 40,000, I believe it's 40,000-year-old cave paintings they found in this cave in France. Where they're like, what in the fuck? Like, imagine what these people's lives were like. These creative people that were like becoming what we are today, but only 40,000 years ago. So they're probably really fucking similar to what we are.
Oh my god.
And these people were just barely clawing by, living in fucking caves in France. And there's cats and lions and oxen and all these crazy animals they're depicting on the walls. These caves where they raise their families and hope they didn't get eaten.
I think that's what it is, though. No, I think that it's simplicity. It's like
It is simplicity.
love, like sustenance,
Yeah.
and intimacy. You know, like
Community.
community.
Yeah, everything, like bonds. Like the worst thing you could do, like I always said this about prison. What's the worst thing they can do? They put you in solitary.
Yeah,
They
isolation.
take you away from rapists, murderers, and thieves.
Yeah.
And they put you by yourself, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Keep me in general population. I'll take my chances. You'd rather take your chances.
You know what I loved about your Bernie Sanders episode was he said that there's a epidemic in this country and it's a lack of community.
Yes.
And I thought that was really profound.
He's right.
He is right. You know, you don't like half of us don't know our neighbors. And so since I've been home for a while since my last tour, which has been like crazy, I've really enjoyed immersing myself in my community and like getting to know where I like people where I get my coffee. And it feels so good to walk in and have them be like, "Hey, Suze,
Right.
you want
yeah.
your latte?
Yeah.
You want your oat milk latte?" And I'm like, "Yes, thank you." It's a little thing, but it's not. You know, you have recognition and people see each other, and that goes a long way,
It does.
man. It really does.
It does. Like knowing your neighbors is a good feeling. Having a community is a good feeling. That's one of the things that like we were talking about. That it's an indication of health.
Sure.
And or an indicator of poor health too is when you don't have those connections. Like people
Right.
feel real lost.
Yeah.
They don't have a sense of community. And that's one of the things that any sort of thing can provide them. And that's why it's dangerous to get lumped up in groups, because some groups are toxic and you just
Sure.
you really want camaraderie. That's what gangs are all about, right? Like people grow up in like real bad circumstances and together through a group, they find loyalty and unity, and they get compelled to act in the interest of that group, even if it's like really dangerous, illegal shit.
Right.
And so they do it out of love. They do
Right.
it if they do a negative thing out
Right.
of a positive for a positive reason, because they
Yeah.
want love. I think we all do that. We all do that with our ideologies. We do it with our religions. We do it with so many different things we do. We do it because we want love, and
Right.
we're failing to understand the mechanisms that are at work that are causing us to be a fundamentalist or a reactionary or a radical person on one side or the other. It's like we really just want to be loved. And
But it's so simple.
yeah, it is so
Like
simple,
there's
but
so
it's,
many things
it's hard for
convoluting
people
that.
to admit.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was telling you guys earlier about the LAFC, the Los Angeles Football Club.
Yeah.
I went to my second game yesterday. It was their season opener, and you know, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan. I love where I'm from. I love the Tribe. I love the Cavs. I love the Browns, but I kind of have a beef with the NFL. Let's not get into it.
Someone's very Cleveland centric.
Well, you know, it's just like I love the Browns, but like, my God,
Let
like
me ask you a Cleveland question. If you're so
Yeah.
high and mighty on Cleveland,
oh shit,
who's the UFC heavyweight champion of the world?
fuck.
Stipe Miocic. Where does Stipe live? Motherfucking Cleveland.
But you
South
said
of
UFC.
South Euclid.
What's that?
Euclid, bro.
Euclid?
Yeah,
It's
it's a
Thanks,
neighborhood.
Jamie. Thanks for
Damn
the.
it.
First of all,
I was going deeper.
muddy the water.
Okay.
The fucking Ohio and him
Okay.
took
Try
over.
to tag team Ohio.
He's the
for
great.
life.
But hold up, he's the greatest heavyweight of all time. Do you know that the UFC's greatest, most accomplished heavyweight of all time lives and from Cleveland? Shut your mouth. He claims Cleveland. Shut your mouth, Jamie. He claims Cleveland.
okay.
But he's a great guy, and
Well,
he's a monster.
I am not as educated on the UFC
Well, educate
front,
yourself.
and I will, and I also, you know, in all transparency, I know this is boxing, but I did watch the Wilder Fury
Wilder
fight.
Fury.
Did not like it at all. It made me very sad. But
Did you
neither
watch
here
it
nor-
live?
Yeah, sure did.
Oh.
In
Have
between
you-
a poker game.
Have you seen a boxing match live
Swear to
before?
God. No. Oh no, I watched it on the television.
Oh, that's not live. Where are you from?
Cleveland, you asshole.
Suck my dick.
Suck my dick. No, but let me get back to it. The point is, God damn it. Look, I want to get into the UFC a little bit more, but I get a little tripped up by it. But what I wanted to say about, no, I first of all, I love you, and I want to go to a match.
Anytime.
I just really?
Yes,
Cool.
anytime.
Cool.
You want to
Okay.
go next weekend?
I'm going to be on tour,
Okay.
but
Anytime.
yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah,
Next weekend?
Gary should
UFC
go.
Vegas.
Gary, you should go.
Do you wanna
to
go?
UFC Vegas.
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay, you're in. You're in.
But when I'm in
Beautiful.
town next,
Suzanne,
let's go together.
Have a good time on tour.
I feel
Gary and I will
sad.
be watching people fuck each other up.
God damn it.
Gary, you've been to a few of them,
Getting
right?
some
I have been to
FOMO.
a few.
Yeah.
Getting some FOMO. Hey, back
Gary
to the
gets
community
that first
thing.
row love.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Ooh, that
Suck my
first
dick.
row love.
Oh, in my face. It just comes back full circle. I'm sorry. Cheers. Well played.
Cheers to all you guys.
Well played, you assholes.
Oh my god.
What I wanted to say was, I know it's
feel like
taken
we
me
should
10
dismount
minutes to
on
get here. The LAFC team has been constructed by some pretty great folks in LA, like Will Ferrell's a big impetus behind the team, and Mia Hamm and all these great folks that kind of tailored it to Los Angeles. And my first game was, I've never felt that kind of pride in Los Angeles. Like, I've always sort of felt like a transplant here, and I've been here for almost 20 years. And it was incredible.
Whoa.
The game itself is mind blowing. Like, it's nonstop, and the physical feat of. And I grew up playing soccer, so I love to watch it. I love to play. Like, it's great. But the sense of community here, and the enthusiasm, and just the way that they have built the stadium in downtown Los Angeles, it was It was
Wow,
heavy.
look at you. You went hand to heart.
I did. I felt
went
it
fist to
deeply.
heart.
I felt it so deeply. You can make fun
Wow.
of me all you want. Look at that gorgeous stadium.
That is
Look
beautiful.
At that.
Now,
And
were you a soccer fan? Excuse me, football fan? Can we just come up with one fucking name? We can't call it football, okay? It's
Why
too
not?
late. Because we have American football and we have
Yeah,
all the
that's
missiles.
fine.
Listen, we're not interested in changing the name
yeah.
of football.
All right.
If you guys
Tell us
wanna
more.
Go ahead. My God, this is us shit. We're all in this together. I'm just talking about names. I don't even like football. I think if they were real men, they'd take those fucking helmets off. This is
Oh,
nonsense.
football,
Wearing
not
pads.
football.
Nonsense. Get the fuck out of here.
Let's
By the
be clear.
way, all you savages, I'm joking. These are just jokes. All these fucking corn-fed assholes
Get your
come down
disclaimer
from
in.
Idaho. What the fuck, bro?
We're gonna get so much
You
shit
like
for this
football?
podcast. We
Come
got
at me,
football.
I'm just kidding. Keep your
Music
pads on. Wear
conservatory.
more pads. I think you should play football from fucking hamster wheels. Just giant hamster wheels slamming each other. If you're gonna have shoulder pads, just pad up the fucking entire area around you. Why are we playing games? We gotta protect you a little bit. Let's protect you all the way. Hamster
Oh my God,
wheels.
you're so fucked.
Everyone inside Ferris wheels slamming into each other from a distance of like hundreds of yards. You're in the center powering it. And you slam into each other. Let's eliminate CTE and make this fun for everybody. We just need we need golf court sized areas to play on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It get some views.
It would get some. That's how the fucking men
That's how it
play
was.
it.
That's how it was.
That's actually not even men. That was the guys in the transitionary period. They were transitioning. That was right when yeah, see, the original men wore leather helmets.
Yeah. No, that's
leather
not
helmets.
leather.
Well, here's the thing. Here's a little shout out to our Native American friends. One of the problems when they first started inventing football is the Native American teams would fuck up the white teams.
Sure.
So they had these dudes were like, college educated and
Yeah.
trying to learn how to play this new game, and these Native American dudes would put the smash down on
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
The fucking old school angry that the grandpa got
Yeah.
scalped, land
Yeah.
got
As
stolen.
they should be.
Yeah, they've been hunting bison for 1,000 generation. Put that real smack
But it
down.
wasn't like
Look at
they
that.
were making millions of dollars each player. They would.
This is a new thing, though.
They had real jobs and then football.
Yeah. So this is the story. It's like if you Google how how American Indians saved the sport of football, it's an amazing story, and it's really the origins of the beginning of football. They barely had pads. They had like these little shoulder fucking things that like dudes have now in sport coats to make themselves look like they, like they're more boxy.
Crazy.
Like it's the male equivalent of a push-up bra. Is a dude with like padded shoulders and a sport coat.
I never thought of that before, but yeah.
It is. That's exactly what it is. They're that weird little thing, like, I'm a general.
Yeah. Whenever I buy like a vintage jacket, I take the shoulder pads out because I
Dude.
feel like a douchebag.
You're a rebel.
You're right. Suck my dick. I can't.
I think there was an NPR, like a Radio Lab podcast on.
That's
Is that
what
what
this is about?
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love Radio Lab.
1905.
Fuck yeah.
19 people died playing football.
Bro.
This is like
How
not
many?
many people playing even.
Wait, was that
1905.
in a year?
19 people died playing it.
In
Colleges
a
became
wait, what's the
scared.
timeline?
1 year.
Oh my
1905 year.
God.
Yeah.
Those people are different.
I'm gonna duck out for a second.
Get
Hit
that
me,
Gary's
hit
got to
me, hit
pee.
me.
Get
Gary's
that
got to
leak.
pee.
Get it.
I have to pee too, but
Suzanne, keep
I'm
it
gonna
together
hold
until
it.
Gary gets back. This is an epic one.
Take one for the team. This is good.
We're like 3.5 hours in. I
I
think.
saw
We're
that,
in the-
and I
in
just
the
looked at my
neighborhood.
phone. We
You
should
good?
probably play a song when Gary comes back,
100%.
and then
We can
not
do whatever the fuck we want.
exhaust your fan base.
No, this is amazing. Here's the thing. They don't have to listen. This is the whole reason this podcast became successful. Like Ari Shafir, who I know and love. He's my
I
brother.
met him once.
I love Ari to death. I love him. He's amazing. But Ari gave me the worst advice ever, and I talk about it often. He's like, you got to edit. You can't have your podcast 4 hours long. I go, why not? He goes, they're not going to listen to all of it. I go, well, then they don't have to.
I'm pretty sure the last Honey Honey podcasts were about 3
At
hours and
least.
some change.
And he fully admits it, by the way. But it's not a knock on Ari. No one knew what was going on back then. I was just stubborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just
I think you've done a great job doing it your way. I really, and I salute that. And I also Joe, you've had a big hand in my career and what's gone on with Honey Honey and how you've supported us. And there's something very special about not, just doing it your way, not tailoring it to anyone else's agenda. It's pretty fucking cool what you're doing, my friend.
But the crazy thing is that it happened 100% organically. You know, there was no preconception. There was no idea that this was going to happen. Just keep doing it and do what you like, and then eventually it happens. But like when you and I went to see Sturgill, how fun was that?
So good.
How fun was that?
So good.
But I enjoyed that so much.
Me too.
Because like we went to see another one of our friends, and this like real cool intimate setting.
I don't know Sturgill.
You worked with him? No.
Never met him,
Jesus
but I
Christ.
love
But
him.
there was some communication back and forth?
We both worked with Dave Cobb on Honey Honey's last record was produced by Dave Cobb, and he does all of Sturgill's records for the most part. I
That
think
is crazy.
Yeah.
I would have swore that you guys had met.
No, I've never met him. A huge fan, love him. But I told you I got mad at him at that one point where he did like an 11-minute guitar solo and it was shredding and it was fucking sick. And then he said, all right, it's a little too much testosterone. Let's tone it down for the ladies. And he played like a love song. And I was like, ladies love rock and roll! Sturgill!
He was just looking for a good segue, man.
First of all, I fucking love him and I give
I
him a
love
free
him,
pass.
too.
But
You know
let me
who else
tell
I
you,
love?
I like rock and roll.
You know who else I love?
Who?
That dude who's on the road with him right now, Tyler
Yeah,
Childers.
Yeah, he's cool.
God damn, he's
super
good.
cool. Yeah.
He's both of his albums that I've listened to. I
Cool.
don't know if he has
Yeah.
more than two. Does he have more than two?
I don't
Tyler
know.
He's really good. He's really authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing like stadiums, aren't they? They're like doing huge
Arenas!
venues. Oh, Jesus.
Arenas, bitch!
My bad. Sorry. I'll see myself out. It's been fun, guys.
Sturgill told me he quit sugar. He lost 20 pounds. He sent me a text. He was like, motherfucker, I lost 20 pounds. I'm ready to do some fucking arenas. Woo!
Oh, my God.
That's a bad
Can I
dude,
pee
man.
now? I'm going to pee now.
Who has three?
And then we should probably play because
Tyler?
we're going on a 3-hour podcast.
Why not? Well, no, it's fine. There's no one. We have no boss.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, take
Whoa.
that.
Suzanne, good luck.
Thanks.
Return. We're going to say
I'm so
nice things
scared.
about you.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Take a left. You're going the wrong way.
She said, I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, Gary Clark.
Yeah, man. Are you talking about Sturgill?
I love that dude to death.
Yeah, man.
He's one of my favorite people.
He's cool. I saw you guys hanging in chat. That
Wow.
was a new introduction.
Dude,
to
I love
for
him.
me. Yeah, he was dope.
He's amazing. I've had a bunch of fun experiences with him, but one of them was like I have a couple of buddies of mine that at the time they were living in Idaho. And they came down to visit me, and I said, "Hey, I go, come on down." And they said just like they live in bumfuck Idaho, right
Yeah.
at the time. Shout out to my friend Kenton, Kenton Cruth. First Light is a hunting apparel company, and my friend Ryan Callahan, and they came with me to the Laugh Factory. We're just hanging out, and I said, "Hey, my friend Sturgill Simpson's gonna come by," and they were like, "What?" So, and Sturgill shows up with one of his buddies, like, "What's up, man?" And they're like, and then we're all smoking weed, and they're like, "Holy shit, we just smoked weed with Sturgill Simpson."
Yeah, man.
Sorry if I get you in trouble, Sturgill. But and then he goes, "What in the fuck just happened? Did we just smoke weed with Sturgill Simpson?"
Yeah, yeah, man.
Like, yes.
That's what happened.
Not his last album, but the one before. I didn't know I was supposed to not tweet it, but I was the one who broke his album. I broke the cover. I put it on my Instagram. I said, "This album is the shit."
What, he sent it to you or something?
He sent it to me.
Like,
I thought it was everybody already knew.
how far before the release?
It was pretty close. It's pretty close. It only helped.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Of course.
All I was saying is that it's the shit.
Nah, of course, man. That's an amazing thing.
He's a unique dude, because like it's hard to define him. Like he's all over the place.
That's kind of what time it is, though. I feel like
I agree with you.
You know,
I agree with you.
people are complex,
Yes, and they should be.
right?
We should be complex. And then sometimes not. Like I love AC/DC.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, that's okay though. It's like I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. I think it's great to have all sorts of different things.
For sure.
A whole lot of Rosies. That's a fucking song for the ages, and it's a real simple song about a giant lady.
Well put.
It's a real simple song about a real large lady, and it's amazing. A whole lot of Rosie's amazing. Ta-da-da, Da-da-da. I mean, whole lot of Rosie, AC/DC. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, sister.
We
need an equal word to come on, son.
Ooh.
To girls. You know?
I mean, sister works.
We need an equal one.
I'm a big fan of the friendly, like, come on, ho. You
Come
know,
on,
just
ho.
in the friendly way,
I like
not
calling
in the
girls
negative
hookers.
way.
I like calling girls hookers,
Ooh, okay.
but in a fun way. Like when girls yell shit out in the audience, I'm like, settle down, hooker.
Yeah.
But it's all love. It's not like in a mean way.
I will say, I feel like you're the only person, and I mean that, and I don't say that lately, that I can laugh when you're like, yeah, bitch.
Well, listen,
'Cause
you and I have
bitch
been
is a
friends.
tough- I know,
You and I have
I
been friends
know.
for almost a decade.
I know.
And it's all love.
Oh my God.
All love.
It felt
Yeah, we met in 2011. Right, we did that End of the World show in 2012.
That was fun.
We did a
It
show.
didn't end,
It didn't
apparently.
end. We did it.
Supposedly, we're still
Cheers.
here. Cheers.
Honey, Joey Diaz, Doug
Gary, we're
Stanhope,
still
and
here.
I did a show at the Wiltern in Los Angeles on December 21st, 2012. That was the Terrence McKenna thing, the end of the Mayan calendar.
Right.
Terrence
Oh,
McKenna,
yeah.
he had a computer. This is how deep that motherfucker ran. He got so high, he came up with an algorithm based on the I Ching that was mapping out time.
It
And
wasn't the Mayan calendar?
It was both.
Oh, okay.
It was the Mayan it was novelty. It was based on
Alright.
novelty. It coincided with, this is what happened. He came up with a thing called novelty theory. And novelty theory he based off the I Ching. The I
Okay.
Ching, which is, it's a divination system, a Chinese divination system. And they would throw these hexagrams, I believe it's hexagrams, and they would indicate a certain pattern, and they would try to recognize this was it hexagrams? What the fuck is the I Ching? Anyway, they would throw these.
None of this.
They would throw these stones.
It's crazy.
It is hexagrams.
It's crazy.
Thank you. So it's a Chinese method of divination that's more than 1,000 years old, and they were trying to conduct what McKenna believed. This is what he believed the I Ching really was. He believed it was a map of time, and that they had, through some way, figured out through hexagrams to recognize that time was mimicable. You could capture it in hexagrams, in mathematics and geometry.
Is this like a string theory kind of thing?
Almost.
All right.
And that you could come up with some sort of a system to this thing. And he called that system time wave zero. And what he thought that system was, he thought that was a system of recognizing novelty, like new ideas, creative things, whether it's the internet or internal combustion engine or the Tesla electric car, anything where it was, where you could map that out and you could say, okay, if you looked at this as a mathematical algorithm and you saw how this was going to play out, you could almost predict patterns in this wave. And where do you predict this happening and that happening, and where does it end? Where does it get to a point where it's so crazy no one knows what the fuck to do? And in Terrence's life, he believed that time was December 21st, 2012. And as a matter of fact, my Barracuda, I had a 1970 Barracuda. My license plate was December 2012. Because I'm like, if this bitch ends, I'm going to be driving around this 1970 Barracuda.
Did you think it was going to end?
I did.
You really did?
Yeah, that's why when we did that show together. That's it. Look at that.
Oh my
Rogan,
God.
Stanhope.
Oh my God, I love
Honey,
that
honey.
so much.
That was
Oh,
us.
That makes me so happy.
December 21st, I was like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to
You know what
be
I
with
loved
my
is you-
favorite people on the planet, like legitimately.
Wow.
This is
You
my
know,
favorite
you
people on the
rolled
planet.
through the countdown. That's what I loved. There was no like
Yes.
10, 9. You were like, Happy New Year, motherfuckers. And then you
Yeah,
just
I'm
kept
like, this
on
is
with your
nonsense,
set.
bitch.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was
Well, it was
great.
fun. It was fun. It was like my favorite people are my family and my friends.
There's Ben.
Yeah, and to be able to do a show, and I wear a fucking suit.
Yeah.
I'm like, if Odin's gonna come capture me, he's gonna capture me
Odin.
wearing some
Oh
fucking
my God.
Wow, yo.
very fine David August apparel.
Didn't Joey Diaz do a set?
Yes, Joey Diaz, Doug Stanhope, and
Yes.
you guys, and Honey.
That was so special.
It was one of
Man,
our
thank you for
favorite
bringing
times.
us on to such
Come
a cool
on,
thing.
it was fun.
It was
like
really
me, just
fun.
me and Stanhope. Look, I love Stanhope as much as I'll cut my fucking pinky off for Stanhope. But he's I don't see him enough, you know. So whenever we can make an excuse to do this,
Yeah.
we're gonna do another. I should tell this right now. We're gonna do another End of the World podcast at the new presidential elections. So when was it November 21st, 2000? What is it?
Like the first week, the first
The
Tuesday
first
of
week?
November.
Whatever it is, 2020. We're gonna be at the Comedy Store. We're gonna make that shit happen.
Damn.
We're gonna do another live podcast. This time it's just gonna be me, Stanhope, and a couple other people. We last time we got too many people. November 3rd, end of the world, or not. It seems like we're wrong a lot.
Who knows?
But
Who
this is
fucking
my
knows?
my thought on all this is like everyone, even the people at the top of government, are just people. We all they need to listen too. We all need to
Yeah.
listen. We can work together. This system that we're on, this fucking clock that we're on, it's not
Yeah.
good for anybody.
Yeah.
We're all worried.
No one's good at being wrong. No one's good at being like, oh, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Because you're a human and that's what we do. And that's where I think there's this like real disconnect with the people that are quote unquote running this country. You know, there's no room for error.
They
and
shouldn't be running it. And they know it. That's why they're holding on to that spot. No one should be.
I think they would do a better job running it if they could exhibit human qualities and also be leaders at the same time.
I agree with
You know?
But I think they're scared. I think everybody's scared. And I think when you're in a position where you're
Fear is the
controlling
mind killer.
what mind control over giant groups of people, you barely can keep your shit together. Like, who are you? Are you an alien? Are you
Yes.
from another fucking planet? You're not. Are you?
Yes.
Yes,
you are,
Gary.
bro.
No,
you
no,
play
no,
that
no.
guitar. I wonder.
No. I was,
You mean them?
Take me to your leader.
I was
Dude. Remember Close Encounters? That's how they talk to people. Right? They're good.
We should play a song. Or not. I don't know.
Suzanne, we hit the perfect podcast. Right, we're at critical mass. We can do whatever we want. If you guys want to play a song, we can play a song. But this podcast has been perfect.
It's
been
great.
flawless. The universe has called us forth.
Well, we could play the single on the way out. You know, we don't have to play a live song. We could play another variation.
We could do everything. I don't want to hotbox you, but it's too late.
no, man.
I think you can't hotbox the willing over here. I can't smoke and then play. I'll smoke after.
Gary can.
man.
I'm already pretty intoxicated.
man.
You guys, you're such you're weed pros.
No. I'm not a pro. There's real pros. There's real pros. You know, I'm not. Action Bronson. I had that motherfucker on this podcast. I took a picture. Wiz Khalifa. I took a picture of his ashtray too. I'm like, what? I'm an amateur. I'm a baby.
Yeah.
I'm a little baby. Look what Tommy Chong gave me. I'm a baby. I'm a baby. Shit goes deep.
How long's that been there?
It's been there forever. It's a shrine. I'm not gonna light this thing on fire. I love Tommy Chong. He's a legend. That will stay there. And
Jesus.
I will love it
wouldn't light
as
it?
much or more. I would light it if he asked me to. If Tommy Chong sent me a direct message at bro, I would really appreciate it if you lit that on air. I'd light it on air out of respect.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Because I used to listen to Big Bamboo when I was a little kid. Me and my
Wow.
friends, we'd have headphones on over a fucking record player. Listen to Tommy Chong and Cheech.
Damn.
The fact that I don't even know those guys, it still weirds me out. I want to get away from them. It's just too real. It's like, how are you guys real? I know
Back
you.
in my acting days, I worked with. Was it Cheech? He was on a show I worked on.
Cheech
anyway.
used to be on that show with Don Johnson. Remember that shit?
Man.
Remember that shit?
yeah,
I'd
The
have to
Dope
look it up.
Barracuda. You know
I'll
how I
mess it
know?
up.
Because of Barracudas. Plymouth Barracudas discontinued 1974. Something like that. Cheech and Chong Cheech Martin. Not Cheech and Chong. Chong was on. Goddamn, we're fucked up. But he was on
really
a
are.
what was it called?
Fucking Monday.
Nash Bridges.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
Monday
that's why I couldn't
afternoon.
remember the
No,
name.
it wasn't.
Listen,
that
you
show.
can suck my Monday. It's not real. That's not real. Monday's not real. This is life.
Yeah.
This is life. Monday's not real. I'm not an accountant.
Listen,
This is
I
nonsense.
have to check back in from time to time just to make sure that I'm here. Because I could disappear, man. Like I don't care what time it is. I don't care what day it is. But sometimes it's nice to know so you can, relate.
Gary,
to
you're
something.
here, and I'm so glad you're here. My God.
I'm glad you're here too. There it is. There's Action Bronson. That dude smoked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blunts in the course of one podcast.
He had one in his hand, I think.
That's
that
right,
Didn't get
constantly.
in.
That's crazy.
He went hard. He just keeps going.
I don't have the weed tolerance like I have the booze tolerance.
How do you feel about spliffs in here?
You love them. You
Fire
do
up,
you,
fire
Gary.
up, we have a
Gary.
machine. We have
I won't do
we
that,
have,
'cause
There's no
I feel
rules
bad.
here.
we have a
feel bad
fan. We have this room is set up for
Why
smokers.
do you feel bad?
Okay.
Yeah,
Dude's smoking a blunt over
Jamie's
here.
gonna turn the fan on. It'll suck all the air out of the room, and connect us with Jesus. Look at that, there's a fan.
Wow.
Yeah, we set it up when we built this room. We had it set it up for Dice Clay.
Okay.
Dice likes to smoke. Oh!
Yeah.
So he would come in and smoke, and I would never want to tell him not to smoke. So I bought, because I'm just happy he's here. So I bought him, an air machine
Oh, my
that would
God.
like process the air while he was there.
Just for Andrew
just for
Dice
Andrew
Clay.
Dice Clay.
That's
And then
amazing.
Stanhope used it. And I was like, perfect. All right, now we got one for smokers. So fire up that spliff, kind sir.
I mean,
Do not be scared.
all right.
Young Jamie's impervious to all forms of intoxication. He's probably from another planet. If anyone visits us from afar and is like just
It's
down here to
Jamie.
contribute, it's Jamie. That fucking dude, he eats 1,000 milligrams of THC. No lie.
What?
And I'm like, how are you? He's like, I'm fine. It just
That's
doesn't seem to
insane.
work.
Really?
1250.
1250. Excuse me. Pardon me. I have insulted
Jesus, Mary
our
and Joseph.
host from afar. Yeah. 1250.
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed.
He's an
Ins-
alien.
and also inspired.
Well, you know, like sheep can't eat like a certain grass and they'll die. They eat Phalaris grass. They're fucking DMT kills
No,
sheep.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
DMT.
you can take it; it's a part of your brain. But if a sheep gets a hold of it, like they just die, legs sticking up near, twitching. It turns out they ate a DMT-rich, concentrated patch of grass.
Oh my God.
It fucking kills them dead in their tracks. Like farmers in certain areas would find these sheep like legs up.
No way.
Yeah.
The last time I smoked DMT, I was in the bathtub and I was, prepared to have a moment, and I got myself all situated and I like lit up, and then I hear like knock, 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 and I'm like, I get up and I put a robe on and I go to the front door, and my old landlord Carlos was like, Miss Susie, the ceiling is leaking, and my bathtub was leaking,
Oh no.
and I was.
You didn't know?
No, and I was very high.
Oh no.
And it was a terrifying experience.
Oh my God. You're DMT high, so you're pixelated and shit?
And P.S. though, it was kind of old, so I didn't get as like.
You didn't get a solid hit?
No, but I got enough of a hit to be fucked up with my landlord knocking on my door when I was a little high on DMT. So anyway,
That's not
I
good.
haven't smoked it since. I'd like to at some point. But
Call
it
Duncan Trussell 24/7 and the hour of the day for incantations
wouldn't
and
I call-
wizardry.
wouldn't I call Joe Rogan?
Shh, the government is listening.
That's what I thought.
Do not say that over the air.
This is going to be edited.
Hold this for later. They should get in on it too. I'm with you guys. I want to
I think
protect
they are
everything.
in on it.
They should be. They
Yeah.
should be. They're missing the point. Well, there's like the drug users versus fucking law enforcement. You guys should be on drugs. If you want to do good law enforcement, you should all be on mushrooms. That's what we should have. Every cop on mushrooms. Like he'll know which kid he can hug. Don't shoot him. Just hug him. Just run up and hug him.
Jesus Christ, Joe.
He'll know. He'll know. You'll feel it. You'll feel it in your soul. Like that kid just needs a hug. He fucking doesn't know his dad. You just run up on him. You know that his dad's in prison right now. That guy's dad's a bank robber. That guy. He's a kid. He's a baby.
I'm not mad at that, Elizabeth. I'm with you.
That's what I think. All cops. See, Andrew Yang had a great idea. All cops should be purple belts in jiu-jitsu, which
really?
I agree with. I think
All
it's a
right.
great idea. So you should have some understanding of how to defend yourself if someone tries to grab you and get your gun. I 100% agree with that. But also, why not be on mushrooms too? Why are you playing games? Come on, man. You're out there life and death in the streets.
Yeah, this bill
You
is
should
going
be
to
like
go a long
fucking
way.
Dr. Manhattan. Just levitating through the city, trying to teach people the right way. Come on, we can all work together.
Agreed.
We'll all be a part of love.
Oh,
Yeah,
the one.
I think it's possible.
yeah.
I think we just need to adjust the chemicals that we have, just like you've done with exercise, and some people have done with medication, or meditation and medication. Some people do with music. It adjusts the chemicals, and I think every way that we know of that's beneficial to adjust the chemicals, whether it's through yoga or meditation or love or music or comedy or anything you can find that puts you in a better place. We should embrace that. And
Agreed.
mushrooms are one of those things.
Agreed.
Right? You shouldn't listen to ACD Highway to Hell all day long. ACDC Highway to Hell 24/7 is going to be a bummer, man. I mean, you might like the first 2 or 3 plays.
I wouldn't like that shit at all, bro. I wouldn't like that shit at all.
But every now and then, right? You know, it's like Billy Squier, Lonely as the Night. You don't want to hear it every day. But every now and then, when you're in a car, you know how you have that Bluetooth thing that happens when your car's synced up to Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Does your car do that? Does it do the Bluetooth? Where, like, randomly it'll play a song.
Yeah.
So you hear, like, some
it's
cool...
always not Alt-J. It goes to the A. Anyway.
Yeah, a lot of times.
iTunes.
I told Tommy Segura that there was one of his bits would come up, like one of the first things
Vampire
when I got
Weekend.
in my
That
car.
was it. That's the one it plays. Sorry.
Well, but sometimes it's a random thing too. Like sometimes it doesn't do it alphabetically; it just does it
Right.
randomly. And like you'll
Weird.
get like a cool song out of nowhere, just plays when you start your car. Like, oh, that's a drug. It's a little weird drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you guys do is a little weird drug.
Likewise.
All of us.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are we drug dealers? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, in a good way.
We're like the proverbial drug dealer.
I love when
think-
whenever you could use proverbial. I'm
I
on
think
your
Curtis
team.
Mayfield had a song about it.
Yeah.
We should be wearing robes.
Yeah. Do you know what I watched the other day? Willie B from the Ghetto Boys had a. Willie D from the Ghetto Boys had this. Are you leaving?
Gary, where are you going?
Yes, sir.
No, you got to do what you got to do.
Willie D from the Ghetto Boys had this video that he put up of James Brown, like right after James Brown had gotten arrested
Okay.
for some craziness, but he was like on the air, apparently high as a kite. And
Yeah,
like
sounds
they were
about
asking
right.
about being arrested. He was like, "Living in America." Hey. And they're like, "What is
That's freedom.
You have to see it. He's got these crazy glasses on. I mean, it's just
Gloves and
classic.
everything.
Well, he didn't
Yeah.
have gloves. There he is. There he is.
Oh, shit. Oh, look at
Can
him.
we play any of this or we get in trouble?
Come on, look.
We'll get in trouble if we play
Pretty
it.
famous little clip. That
Yeah,
people
it's a
can find.
famous clip. It's
Oh, look at him and his
1988,
glasses.
James Brown's strangest interview ever.
Have all the charges been dropped?
Yeah, I'm out on love.
Well,
Look at that white lady with her
Well.
59-year-old lady haircut.
Alone from night to night, you find me.
Now, James, this isn't the first time you and your wife.
Wow,
have
that's a
had
real,
problem.
can I speak to the manager haircut?
It's amazing.
Talk about music,
God,
you
look at him.
Look at his glasses. He's like, yep, got it. He put those glasses on like perfect. That's what I'm trying to say. Bitch, I'm not even in your dimension.
Oh, my God.
You know, my favorite James Brown video of all time is Live in Zaire.
Ooh.
Live in Zaire before Muhammad Ali and George Foreman fought. And
Wow.
yes. And James Brown comes out and performs live right before Muhammad Ali fucks up George Foreman.
I like that
James
guy's
Brown,
jacket.
BB King was on that one
Dude,
too.
crazy.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
the
they,
stash is going.
and you got a real, what is this, 74 or something? Is that what it said? 74. You got to, the world's a different place. James Brown live in Zaire, just crushing it. Just crushing it. And again, what the fuck was out there like James Brown before James Brown? Answer, nothing. Nothing.
Oh, my God.
Not a fucking thing. Not a thing. A human original. Just super
Wait, what does
eccentric
GFOS
powerhouse.
mean?
JB, James Brown.
No.
Godfather of
What
soul.
the
God,
fuck?
thank you, Gary.
Jesus.
Yeah,
woman.
baby.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ, you're white. Cleveland in the house. GFOS.
That's the meanest thing you've ever said to me, Joe.
Come on, look at his outfit. Soothe yourself by looking at his outfit.
I knew once I said it, I was like, you shouldn't have.
Look at that fucking outfit. And here's the thing,
my
like
God.
a dude like him, I mean, he's so goddamn talented. He could wear whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
He could wear some bullfighting cape, right? James Brown could wear
those
anything.
bell
Look at that
bottoms.
pants. Look at those pants. He could wear anything. Today.
Did you notice that the zipper was on the back?
In there wearing that.
Oh my God. It'd be
I
over.
thought about it.
Look at
You could pull it
Oh,
off.
you
come
can
on
pull it
now.
off. A woman can pull it off far easier than a male. A male pulling that off is
You know what though?
peacocking.
Everything
You gotta
now,
be
everything now's
superior.
already been done, for the most part.
Oh, I don't know
And
about that.
I do. I think like sexuality and individuality in a lot of ways have been exacerbated. And now the weird, I sound cynical. I think the thing now is being authentic. That's what's a rarity.
I agree with you if that's what you are. But if you're some hypersexual James Brown
Sure.
motherfucker from another dimension, this
But
is
those folks are
authentic.
rare.
40
And
years old here.
4-0 before
God,
TRT.
40?
Yeah.
No growth
That's great.
hormone, no vitamins to speak of.
stem cells.
Yes.
Damn.
41 maybe.
Dude, a lot of home cooking and a lot of love. That dude's fueled by love, right? There's like maybe 4 people on Earth as famous as he was in 1974. There he is.
Man.
That's a weird moment in time, you know?
It's special.
I was watching a video of Elvis Presley singing Suspicious Minds, and I was like, that poor bastard never had a chance. Never had a chance.
What do you mean?
What you mean? Yeah.
This is what I mean. There was no one that famous before Elvis.
Oh.
It never happened. It wasn't real. And then all of a sudden, this young guy, out of nowhere, and all the signs are there. Like he marries his wife when she's 14. Why is he doing that? Because he wants to reclaim his innocence. Like people call him a pedophile, like maybe, but there would be probably a bunch of instances of that. I think it was more likely this is a guy slinking, like sliding away from reality with pills and
How
fame
old was he?
and stardom. That's a good question.
How old is he? What?
You know what's
When he-
funny about that?
In this,
What's funny about that was we would expect there would be a year where he should be able to keep it together. Because, like, I don't think he died that
he
old.
looks pretty young there.
How old was Elvis when he died?
He's like 45 or something.
Not that old. How old was he? Young Jamie. Drum roll, please.
Young Jamie.
Yes, sir. This one right here.
Born in 35, died in 77, so he's 42, yeah.
42.
When he
That
died.
ain't
That's when he
shit.
died.
Damn.
That ain't shit.
No, it's not.
And he was a new thing. There was a new thing. The new thing was this fucking insane supernatural sex appeal star with tassels on his pants, doing fake karate, throwing kicks.
Well, you
Girls
know-
are going crazy. He's taking pills. Woo!
He was kind of
No one before him.
he was kind of a sacrificial lamb, though, in a lot of ways.
Could you imagine? Like,
You're
what
right,
the
you're right.
fuck? I couldn't.
And then there was Michael Jackson, who
Also
said,
a
"Hold my
sacrificial
beer."
lamb.
But Michael Jackson said, "Hold my beer." You want to see crazy? How about I do what you do when I'm 6? How about that? ABC.
And then you have to hold the weight of the world on your back
Exactly.
of like the
Exactly.
the icon that you are and the barriers that you've broken and then the the effect you've had on people and how much they rely upon you. I can't fucking imagine.
I can't imagine either. Jamie, go
I'm
back
cool
to Elvis
with
doing
just
those stretches.
coasting.
By the way, I should say when I say fake karate, some of his karate was fake, but he was actually trained by Ed Parker, who was a noted Kempo karate master. And back in the day, like in
This
Elvis's
reminds
day
me
in
of the Lenny
1970,
Kravitz pants
How-
rip when.
First of all, how dare you?
What do you mean? It's a great moment in history.
Yeah, but he's a different thing.
Yeah, but I know he was really kind of squatting there, and for a minute
Lenny
I was
Kravitz
like, "Are
has
those?"
got his shit together fully.
Except for
Lenny
that
Kravitz
time,
lives
his
on-
pants ripped and
That's
his
just
dick flopped out.
pants. That's just pants.
Do you think it was
It's probably planned
planned?
out. It's probably like Janet Jackson's
No,
nipple.
no.
Would, remember? Remember at the Super Bowl?
Everybody remembers Nipplegate.
Yeah, Nipplegate.
Nipplegate, Gary.
Lenny Kravitz has some crazy farm in Brazil. He lives on a giant farm.
Yeah, he's
Does he
living
really?
nice, man.
Yeah, he's got.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him
He
lately.
rides horses.
That's nice.
Lenny Kravitz
I
has
love
like this whole,
horses.
there's a whole video online where you see him in his estate in Brazil riding
That's great.
horses over the mountain. Look
Oh,
at that.
here-
That's
oh,
Lenny
wow.
Kravitz.
Yeah, boom. Yeah.
Damn, he
Look at
looks
that
good.
He
Look at
sucked
that
looks
dick
so
so
good.
hard they sent him
Oh,
to
wow.
South America. They said, They said, you're going to have to go to Division 1. You're fucking things up over here in Division 2. We didn't send you to South America. Like, bro, you need to go to Brazil.
Listen, we have to let you go, fam.
You need to raise cattle and stare at the sunset. Jesus Christ, man, slow down. You handsome bastard.
Wow.
Oh man.
You handsome, smooth singing
man.
bastard.
He's a beautiful
He's
man.
amazing.
Yeah.
He's so fucking talented.
Wow. Are you gonna go my way? Maybe.
Dude, he's so talented. He's so talented.
So, have you seen there's a film where he produces Mick Jagger's record.
Whoa.
A record for Mick Jagger. And there's
No
like
way.
a documentary on it.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible
No
how
shit.
talented he is.
Oh,
And,
he's super. You could tell just
When was
where his-
that?
early 2000s, I think.
What is
Ooh,
that
I'd like to
video
see
you were
that.
showing,
Yeah.
Jamie? Because that's an amazing video because you can tell like what kind of a person he is by following him around this house, where he talks about like what these things in his house mean to him, like what like little pieces of art, things that someone left him, things people, things that have like real significant meaning to him, and he's talking about why and what they are. You're
Cool.
like, oh, that's
Same with Architectural Digest.
oh, okay. Yeah, people try to be weird. Oh, I'm gonna get a fucking ranch in Arizona. Lenny Kravitz
I see
is-
your ranch in Arizona. I raise you a ranch
Yeah.
in Brazil.
Lenny
Suck
Kravitz
my
is like,
dick.
hold my beer.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. I'm going to another continent, bitch. I'm gonna have a whole band stay over at my place. Whatever. Living the dream.
Level
You
up.
know? Yeah, there's levels to this shit. There's levels to this shit.
That's funny.
What is this one, Jamie?
The song you made
Mick
with
Jagger.
him.
Oh, this is a song you did.
This is just the video. This is
Here's
not
the
documentary.
when you talk about levels to this. How is this dude still slinging dick? And how old is he? How old is Mick Jagger? What is? Let's guess. Let's be conservative and say 73.
Yeah,
Might be 76, right?
Yeah.
What do we got, Jamie? Here we go. Drum roll, please. 76.
Here's the thing.
76.
Per your
Come on now.
Black swimmers.
Aubrey de Grey podcast, do you have a I feel like these people are joyful. I think
Yes.
that's the anti-aging contingency is propagating joy.
I think you're right. And I think with Mick Jagger, one of the big things is that Mick Jagger is like really, really into fitness. Like he works out.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. He works out twice a day. He does
What?
yoga. He does
What an
all kinds
asshole.
of shit. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. He's like, oh, I see what's up.
Damn it.
Like, you got to keep this fucking boat on the
Yeah,
river.
okay.
You got to keep this boat on the river. And he gets after it. He's legendary. He does dancing and all kinds of other shit. Yoga.
Dancing's everything. Dancing is everything.
Dancing is a lot.
Look
at
at him.
Look, he's
Oh,
dancing.
bless his heart.
But so if you went to see Mick Jagger, you're like, oh,
That's
this
some
motherfucker's
dancing in
got-
the streets
Yeah.
move right there.
You're like, he's got bad hips. He's going to stand still. No, this guy's fucking hustling. He realizes what he's doing
Do
is
you guys
rare.
dance? Do you dance?
Who doesn't?
I do. This is my thing is when I'm in my studio, I work all by myself and I just dance crazy.
Fuck yeah, Gary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll bust it out someday. on
Gary,
stage.
that is
Beautiful.
awesome.
Yeah. Why not, man? You're dancing to your own sounds.
That and other people's too.
It's
but,
also-
I love to dance. I'm
Yeah.
I love to dance
I'm
too.
making my own.
I don't
steps
dance
and
enough.
doing
I
all
dance
kinds
at
of
home
shit.
alone often, but I
Well,
should get out and
It's a
make
form
it
of exercise too.
Sure.
And it's not just a physical exercise. It's like a spiritual exercise in that
Agreed.
you're enjoying yourself. Though that word spiritual is so poisoned by crystals and fucking
No,
horse
fuck
shit.
that. This is
But
a
you know what I
safe
mean?
place.
But
Yeah.
like, thank you. I feel that. But like, yeah. Ah. Freedom.
Absolutely.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Why should joy have boundaries?
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
We're all scared.
No,
You know,
I'm not.
I had this conversation with this friend of mine about Bernie Sanders. We were talking about socialism, and I'm like, he's like, I never thought you'd be into socialism. I go, I'm not into socialism, but what about fixing the things that are broken doesn't seem appealing to you? And we have socialism for a lot of different things, like the fire department, the police department. But I'm like, that's not what I'm into. This is what I'm really into. I'm really into like people having a big stake in community. And I think when you look out for other people, that's when you have the biggest stake in community. And I think that's one of the things we're missing today. And we're missing, we can do it in our neighborhoods, like we were talking about, like you know your neighbors, it's really nice. But I think we can do it in an expansive way, as long as we didn't give in to the temptation to be shitty to people that we don't know, and to treat everybody as if we're all a part of a community. I think that can be done. And I think the best way to sort of enhance that kind of thinking is to make decisions that are for the downtrodden, make decisions that are for the working class and the people that are struggling and the people that are just trying to put food on the table and keep a home heated. That's concentrate on that first before anything, because those are the hardest hardships.
Yeah.
And there's too many people that have this idea that everyone that's in that experience is there because they're lazy or because they don't work hard or because
people really think that?
They do.
That's
they
so
make
ignorant.
excuses. There's a lot of people that do think like that, but it is because it is that they're ignorant. But it's also that they don't know. They haven't experienced what those people experience. And if they, this is the thing about every person alive. You look at a person who's doing great. Look at a person who's falling apart. You would be that person if you did what they did. There's not much difference between us.
Agreed.
Unless you're talking about physical things, like the difference between Usain Bolt's running speed and the difference between mine. Like, there's certain physical things that are unsurmountable. I'm fucking positive thinking, bro. Like, it's not happening. It's not happening, right? There's certain things you can't get past.
Right.
But there's a lot of things you can.
Yeah,
You know,
agreed.
and one of the problems that we all have is our perception, the way we look at things. If we could look at things as more like we're all cool, we're all together. Like, nobody wants you to do bad. Like, let's all do good. We can all do good together. We could all go forward with that mindset.
Well,
and this
there
idea
are
that
some
we're all,
people that want you to do bad, and those people also
need a hug.
deserve attention. Exactly.
They need a
They
fucking
need a hug.
hug.
They need a hug.
For
They're
all
just so
human
scared.
history, we're treating them the wrong way.
Yeah.
We're treating them like we need to kill them and drown them in
No,
the river.
they're not the bad guy. It's like the hurt people thing. You know,
Exactly.
you gotta
Exactly.
see those people and say, hey, I see you, and I'm gonna hug you, and
Yes.
like let's all fucking move together.
Yes. And
They're-
then the problem
yeah.
is some of them are really legitimately broken.
Yeah.
Like, some people have done a terrible job of raising their kids to the point where they've broken their kids. And those kids need to find some way back to the garden. You know, and
Right.
it's hard. And that's the reality of scale. The fact that there's 350 million people just in America. I mean, is that the real number or is that North America?
Pretty close.
That's fucking crazy. For us to try to put that into perspective is almost impossible. I don't think we even understand what that number means, and that we're all supposed to be a team. But I think it's possible. I think we just have to look at it the right way. Like, you have to have no room for douchebaggery. No room for
That's
treating...
impossible.
But it's not impossible. I don't think it is. I think people just need a higher level of guidance and of understanding of the consequences of not behaving that way and the benefits of behaving that way. The problem is we look at it like it's a negative. Like, somehow or another it's a weakness. If you show any sort of sympathy or compassion or try to have some understanding for people who are downtrodden or poor, people look at you like you're weak. Like, no, you're looking at the wrong way. You feel uncomfortable about it because it makes you feel weird, because there's too many variables, and it'd be better if you just nailed it down to a 1 or a 0. Either they're lazy or they're good, hardworking people. If they're good, hardworking people, they figure it out, and if they're lazy, they don't.
It's not binary.
It's not
like that's
exactly.
the thing.
That's
it's like
exactly
we're
right.
there's so much more.
There's too many of us.
Yeah.
There's too many variables. The idea that, like, no one should get help, that's so crazy. I was on welfare when I was a kid. It's important. It's important for people. It keeps them fed.
Yeah.
Like, gives people a chance. Like, and that doesn't mean that people are going to come steal your money. That means we should all chip in a little bit.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out how to make sure that the government has our confidence,
Right.
that we feel like we can throw them our money and they're going to do the right thing with it, and we're going to help communities, we're going to help people. And that's what everybody's wary about, for a good reason. It's because who the fuck knows who's taking your money? They don't give you an accountant sheet. They don't show you what they're spending it on. You just give it up.
That's
you
what I
know?
meant earlier when I was like, I don't know what's true. I don't know.
I know, it's hard.
But at the same time, I think what you're saying is so powerful, because, like, you can have your sort of government affiliations and, like, oh, these are the people that are quote unquote taking care of us. And then you can also take care of yourself and each other and recognize your neighbors and recognize your community and kind of build from the ground up. Know who your your local representatives are, you know, for fuck's sake, like your kids in their schools and like all that stuff. Like that is a very powerful tool.
Well, and even, I mean, those are official titles and official designations, and all that stuff is awesome too. But it's also just know who the fuck is around you,
right?
And like, and be nice to each other and figure it out together. Like, we're all acting like everybody is not going to help you and everybody's not going to understand you. And then when that gets fed to a scale of this impossible number of 350 million people, 350 million people doesn't even make sense to us. It's so hard for us to ever understand what it's like to try to like do what's best for 350 million people. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So you just do what's best for yourself and you go, it's going to work itself out.
Yeah.
It's going to sort itself out. And if there's ever a conspiracy...
There's no action involved in that.
Exactly. And if there's ever a conspiracy to keep people stupid, that's the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Make that seem like it's normal.
Yeah.
Make that seem
Every
like
man for
everybody
himself,
shouldn't go, hey, you really can affect things. And you really should pay attention to this. And we should all figure out a way to do it together where the whole motivation is to make life better for everybody. When you're really, 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 really rich, let's say you're really, 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 really rich. What if you just really, 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 really? You gonna notice? Bitch, you ain't noticing shit. You're not gonna notice. Right. But you are contributing in a dynamic way to a system that helped you get really, 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 really rich. See, the balancing act is not wanting to get to a place where you stifle people's need to do well because they need to have some sort of motivation. Some people do. You want them to have motivation, but you want them to feel good about contributing too.
Sure.
That's what's up. It's not this idea that they're going to come steal your money. It's like, no, you're going to help. You're going to help. We're not stealing any money. You're going to help people that can't help themselves. Like there's people, you might have got lucky. You might have got a good parent and a good situation, a good neighborhood, good school. You did well. Some people don't. Some people get fucked when they're really young. They get robbed. They get beaten up. They get tortured. They get scared. That's normal in life too. And you can help them. And this is what I think when you get lost in words like socialism and libertarianism and all these different fucking labels that carry all this weight behind them. If we just say, like, what's your intentions? Is your intentions to make the community a better place for everybody and make people happy and make sure people have food and make sure people are loved and make sure people are in a warm... That's what we should do as a community. Yeah. That's what we should do. All that other stuff is bullshit. Because if you don't have that, you don't have anything, and you're gonna feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's the thing.
That's the thing. And these fucking labels, whether it's liberal, Republican, you fucking cuck, you goddamn hippie, all these different labels of people. It's so easy to dismiss people with these labels.
And they have such an agenda.
Right, and it plays on that part of the human psyche that wants to be a part of a team and attack opposing ideas, and it becomes a fucking tribal thing. It's so hard to sort out what's right and what's wrong, but I think we're in a weird space where there's no one at the wheel. I think this is the first time there's no, the government doesn't have a hold of the wheel.
And there's no
mass
mystery.
Media. No.
That's
it's
what's
all
so scary.
It's all eroding before our eyes. But no one's at the helm. No one's got a hold of that goddamn battleship. The parrot ships, they have those handles on the wheel. Dun, 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 and, strap yourself in and shit. No one's at that wheel. That thing is just going around.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and you said this earlier, and we laughed about it, but like, the thing is, you said the word love and like music and art and things that are cohesive in communal environments and helping people come together, like in terms of like feeling like what can I contribute? Like, fuck, how can I help? Because this feels like an epidemic, this disbandment, amongst us. Yeah. And all this fear. Everybody's so scared. I'm scared, I am and I'm not.
Scared.
I go in and out of it. I go in and out of...
bring us back in, right?
I don't know. My fear is fleeting. It's things that feel a little superficial at times. But at the end of the day, like the love thing, the energy that you could make fun of me. I don't give a fuck. Like the fact is, like, we all need it. We all want it, and we all deserve it. So, what are you gonna do with that? You know, like we can sit here and dissect politics and agendas and this guy and socialism, all this stuff, but we all need to feel that thing, and it is love.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very powerful. And it comes in many forms and has, you know, different hats. And I think that right now, like I'm sure that you feel it at a show, right? When you play music for people, you know, I'm sure you feel it all the time, you know, with your podcast and with your shows and with the outreach that you have. And, you know, and forgive me, I don't want to assume, you know, and I feel it in all the varying degrees of the shows that I play and things. And like at the end of the day, this stuff, like where we're at, is a scary place, but there's like this thing, there's this like kind of one thing, and it is the love thing, and that has like a bunch of different adjectives around it and verbs that are like recognizing each other and seeing each other and saying, hey, we're different, but we're the same, and we're okay. Like, let's keep moving, you know. The thing that saves me from all this like deep depths of fear is that. Like, period. There's really nothing else that I have to say. Like, because it's a weird world that we're living in. But that's the thing. That's it.
It is a weird world, and people can tip left or right. Or that's a bad analogy. People can tip good or bad, one way or another, depending upon how you approach them.
Sure.
And this is the thing that a lot of us get wrong. You run into someone, they're a dick, you're a dick back, it turns into a fight. You're like, oh, that guy was a fucking dick. Yes. But sometimes when someone's a dick and you're not a dick, they stop being a dick.
We literally talked about this at the beginning of the podcast.
That's right. That's right, we did.
Where, like, will you diffuse a situation where energy gets heated and somebody's angry or you know, I don't know if I should retell the story, but, like, you know, it's accountability, too. Like, you know, when you mess up...
It's also presumptions, right? You go into conversations with presumptions of how this guy feels about you. Like, this fucking guy thinks I'm an idiot. I know...
Well, it's like a winner society. Yeah. It's like, you have to be right, but you know what? It's fucking okay to be wrong. I fucking made a mistake. I'm so sorry.
It's not just okay to be wrong. It's a gift. When you're wrong, it's a gift, because that humility that comes with being wrong is what really helps your education as a person.
Yes, agreed.
As a fucking girlfriend, a boyfriend, a lover, a father, a son. You learn when you fuck up. You learn like, God damn, I was wrong. Like that's a valuable lesson, because it's a humiliating lesson.
Well, and you set yourself free too, because there's some, when you're hanging on to righteousness like this, like, you know, an ability to say that you were wrong.
Yep.
That is a fucking burden.
It's not just a burden. It's a foolish pursuit. Like, you should relish every opportunity to apologize and say you're wrong as a showing of strength.
Yeah.
Because if you think you're strong, you think you're strong and you know you're wrong and you don't tell the truth, well, then you're a fool. You're missing out on an opportunity for you to be strong, for you to show that you're strong, to show that you made a mistake. I've made a lot of mistakes. I make them all the time. I'm a fucking dummy, all right? Like, I do my best, but ultimately, at the end of the day, there's a lot of dummy in me, and I do my best. But if I make a mistake, I will fucking own the shit out of that mistake. If you talk to me about it and you want to have a discussion about it, I'm not one of those people that I don't think there's any value in pretending you didn't make a mistake. I think there's a real
societal.
But I think we're wrong about that
misconception.
But like, it's they don't know. The people that did it didn't understand. The rules that were written by people who really hadn't had a good grasp of the territory yet. They didn't really understand what they were saying. They should have taught people that in school. They should have taught people like that in junior high school for sure. They should have said your failures, those feelings that you feel. Like, they teach you about history and math, and those things are great. There's nothing wrong with that. But they should have taught us about how your failures are a very valuable fuel. Yeah. That feeling that you get when a girl dumps you, or that feeling that you get when you crash your car, or that feeling that you get when you fucking ruin something, you say something wrong, when something comes out of your mouth, when anything you do wrong, you flunk out of a class, whatever the fuck it is, that negative feeling is a boost. It's supposed to take you into the next orbit. It's supposed to blast you into the next level of understanding what you were doing wrong and how to improve in your life and how to go forward with better habits. And if you don't experience that pain, that feeling, that embarrassment, then you don't really know how valuable it is to stay on your grind. And people say it all the time, and it resonates with people. You got to stay on your grind. You're like, yes, yes. But you almost
why do you think that it's not okay to be human? Like, why do you think, societally speaking, we can't just be like accountable and strong at the same time?
Well, we're just nervous. It's not that we.
But
don't
like,
think,
I mean, like systemically, like that is since the beginning. Is that
Oh,
like the like monkey brain in us? That's like
easy
you
to
have to be the
explain.
alpha, all that shit. Like
I've thought about this
it
forever.
Fucking boggles my mind.
It's just because we're worried about people that are not pulling their weight when people are starving to death. It's an ancient instinct. When like if we barely had enough food to keep our babies alive and our friends alive and our parents alive, barely had enough food, and we saw someone slacking, holy shit, did you want to fucking kill them? If you saw someone that was sneaking food, that was taking too much food, or you saw someone that wasn't putting in their work, and you were just slightly shy of being comfortable, and you knew this fucking lazy motherfucker, if they just did their work, we would all be fine. But they don't do what we do. They claim their foot hurt, or they claim their back hurts, and they go back to their cave, and everybody wants to kill them. That's what the fuck that's for. It's a resource balance relationship.
That's like the sort of aggression against like welfare, people that need it and people that don't, people that
Exactly.
you know, exploit it. I get it.
Exactly. It's attaching ultimatums, or ultimates rather, like this is the ultimate truth, to any sort of circumstance in a general sense. Like to pretend that you have a million let's pretend you have a city of X amount of people and you have 1 million people that are on some sort of assistance, whether it's food stamps or welfare or whatever. To pretend they're all one thing is crazy. To pretend it's all one story is crazy. Yeah. One set of circumstances, that's nuts. That's nuts. The question should be like, look, there's no billionaires that are signing up for food stamps, right? There's no millionaires that are trying to get welfare money, right? So it's only when you're desperate. So the question is, like, how do we engineer society so that even the most desperate people never hit that spot? Never hit a spot where they need assistance. The most desperate people are always taken care of, where they don't have to worry about it. And then what motivation is just following your dreams, doing what you enjoy doing, whether it's a thing like playing music or writing books or whatever it is, finding that thing. But that motivation for doing that thing should be above the idea that you have to survive by doing some shitty job to make a living, to pay for your bills, and just rob you of your time and your resources. It should be like, hey, fuckface, recognize this. You don't have a lot of resources, okay? All right? Let's just pretend you don't need a job. We're going to give you the money. You don't need a job. But understand this, motherfucker. You're given a gift. You're given a gift that Beethoven never had, Hendrix never had. Nobody had it. You got money enough to live. Now go. But understand, if you're lucky, you live 80 years. Everything over there is like tomorrow. Every time
Extra.
you sneeze, you're worrying you're going to die.
Yeah.
We just have to look at the way we distribute money as being like, we think about it right now as being, this is the way we've always done it. This is the way we're going to do it. But money didn't even exist. Like this shit is old.
That's so
this shit is
crazy to
really
think about.
recent. It
That's
doesn't mean
so
we're doing
wild.
it right.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have tents filled with homeless people. That's fucking gross. We should have people shitting in the street in San Francisco. That's fucking gross. If you guys have to pay more money to make sure there's health care for a bunch of homeless people with mental illness that are shitting all over your streets, you should definitely spend that money. Because you're not going to fix it by a bunch of dudes with squeegees and fucking power hoses out there. Where's that shit going?
Well, you know what
scooping it up?
You know what they
That ain't
do
gonna
is
happen. I was just up there. It's funky.
You know what
It's
they do is
funky.
they give those people a little bit of money and a bus ticket to like Salt Lake City or something.
Or Austin, Texas.
Or Austin. They do that, yeah. And then they drop them off and they say, you got a motel for 30 days. And then get them the fuck out. And then make
that
them
real?
somebody else. Oh, fuck yeah. And they make it somebody else's problem.
We tried to trace that, right?
It's
the
gross.
podcast, we found out that there's been all over the country. They ship them to different places.
Yeah, they had a huge thing in Orange County. There was almost like a mile-long tent city, and they got them out. I don't know where they sent them.
You know what that's like? It's like the human equivalent of throwing a cigarette out their window on the highway. Like someone's going to figure it out.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
What are we going to do, guys? What the fuck are we going to do?
Suzanne, I think you figured out a lot of things. You're
know.
selling yourself short. You
I
have
don't
some
know, Joe.
amazing revelations during this show, and they've all been documented.
Shit.
Yeah, but I think the more, I mean, it's going to sound ridiculous, but I think the more conversations people have like this, we try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Try to concentrate on what do we need to do to make
That
this
I
place
agree
better.
100%.
I think that's real.
Wake up and walk out of the house,
Yeah.
Yes.
understanding what's your intention. I think it goes back to
Yeah.
that. But I think what you were talking about with, coming up levels and different upbringings and this and that, it's a factor, and so it's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
It's not
Yeah,
that
well,
easy.
learn about people that are different from you. You know, I think that a lot of folks, ignorance is something to recover from. You know, if you don't know, if you're a religious type and you have an opinion about gay people, but you've never met a gay person in your life and what it's like to be gay and why, it's like you think it's a choice or whatever you think, until you can't really have an opinion until you actually sit across from somebody and look them in the eye and talk to them. You know, I think that's where a lot of this, discord comes in terms of we're all different and we are, but we're not, I don't know how I don't want to go there, but we're there.
What we're different about is the things that are superficial.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, what we're not different about is what we are. We're human beings. Whether we have weird accents or styles or hobbies or musical
Colors, all that stuff.
Yeah, whatever we're interested in. Whether it's the way we like to dress or the style that we like to eat or the places we like to live, or all those things are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But what we really are, that core, whatever the fuck you are at the center, that's a human being.
Yes.
That's what's real. That's what's real. And when you love people and they love you and you love each other back, you all recognize that thing, that human being thing, is the same. It's the same. It's the same in your children. It's the same in your mother. It's the same in your neighbor. It's the same in everybody.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's love. It's like us. And we don't, the only time that people lash out is when someone lashed out against them and it all gets terrible and cockeyed and twisted. But what we are is the same. We're all the same, going through this weird, strange existence. It's almost like some crazy game that's being played out.
Simulation.
And no one knows why. Well, even if it's not a simulation, it is. This is what people need to understand. Even if it's not, it still is. Even if it's not. Even if this is real, it's still a simulation. You were a fucking nothing 14 billion years ago. You were a part of a head of a pin, and you exploded. And the only reason why
Are we
you're
going Big Bang?
yes,
Bang here? Yeah.
the only reason why your body, your fucking human body, even exists is because
We're all
a
just
sun exploded.
nuclear rubble.
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
I know.
Nuclear rubble.
I think that we
What's
are.
that? Who had that song? We are stardust.
Moby.
Yeah.
No, is it Moby?
Fuck you. And we got to get ourselves
Someone save me.
back to the God.
So off, Suze.
What is it?
Joni Mitchell.
No,
I
there was
thought
someone
for
before
sure
Joni Mitchell.
we were all stars. I was like, Moby.
We are stardust. It's,
Crosby, Stills,
yes, Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
That hurt my
We
own
are
feelings.
stardust.
I hurt myself.
We are million-year-old carbon. And we got to get ourselves back to the garden. You started with the whole suck my dick. But in all fairness, I started it because I called you bitch like 3 times.
Safe place. Safe place. Safe place. Only you can call me that. No one else. All right? You hear? Mark my words.
We're friends. We're friends. It's all with love.
I gotta say, that first, I was like, okay.
You were the first one?
No,
I'm telling you.
just saying, I was a
The
little-
only one.
Okay.
No
we've
one
been-
else.
We've been
Yeah,
friends for
I
so
figured
long.
No one else.
She talks shit to me too, though. Don't get wrong.
What do I say?
Whatever you can.
Okay. Nice. Oh man, guys, this is
It's
great.
been an awesome time.
This is great.
Yeah, it's about as good as a podcast can get. You guys want to do one more song and wrap this bitch up and bring it to Valhalla?
Well, should we? Oh my God.
It's
Should-
almost 5 o'clock.
Let's
Is it really?
Yes.
Song you gave me?
let's play the
This
track.
is a more
So-
than 4.5-hour podcast. Is that correct, Jamie?
This is a record.
Really?
Closing in on 4 right now.
4 hours right now. Oh, that's right.
Right.
You guys warmed up a
started a little
bunch.
late,
You've done this long before.
Doesn't matter. We're all good. Kevin Smith has the record, right? Does he have the record?
That
Or-
I don't know. I wasn't with
My
you guys
friend
then.
Justin Collett, we did 2 podcasts.
You and Bert did a 5.5-hour one
That's
when I
right.
first got here.
That's right.
Amazing.
That might have been fueled
I
by some.
love Bert. I've never met him, but I
might have
love
been
him.
fueled by some Tito's.
Well, okay,
You want to
so-
meet him? I would love to set
yeah.
that up.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, I'll-
Big fan.
Yeah.
That's the machine.
But you know,
You want to meet the machine?
if you,
course.
yeah,
Who doesn't,
all right,
bro?
let's just
fucking does
Bert
it?
Kreischer, I'm hooking you up with wisdom.
Come on.
please.
Greatness.
God bless it. Okay, so you know, Gary played on this song. It's called "Fall for That."
Okay.
Sounds like this. Yeah, it's gonna come out to Spotify, all that stuff in April.
In April, the full album.
No, just this song.
When's the full album?
Not sure.
Oh shit.
Depends on how much
It's a mystery.
I can get it together.
You come here when it comes out.
Please.
100%.
All
Gary
right.
Clark Jr. Suzanne Santo. Peace and love to you all. We did it.
Yeah.
Bye.
God. 4 hours.